Oh, I forgot we're watching this on the studio end, so it's not telling me. There we go. We got 2 people watching.
Oh.
We'll see how well the internet holds up for it. All right. It'll probably take 5-10 minutes before we start seeing. Oh, we're up to 3. Things we didn't advertise this one.
Everybody's kind of impromptu. We kind of advertised it in the last 2 videos we put out, but we didn't say we were going live. we just tried to see who all would guess, and several people did.
Yeah.
As soon as they saw the Fort Laramie sign, they knew what was up.
Still trying to figure out how they knew I was in Lingle.
You're not, though. You are, though. You don't know where he is.
Well, we got Rumble Strip. Oh,
We got 3.
that picture looks really familiar. I know who that is. Just can't.
You've been wondering where he's been for a while. He's been there, he's just under a different name.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah. Not doing much. Got kind of a special stream here tonight.
Howdy.
Some folks come up to visit from Kansas, 11bangbang boys. So we got, for those of you that don't know, we got Caleb, Ethan, or no, I screwed that. Caleb, Ethan, and Karen.
You got it right that time. And he's only drinking sarsaparilla, guys. We promise. We promise.
I had the right idea. I was pointing the wrong direction.
Oh, man. Pat said that picture should remind you.
Yep.
So.
And Jeremy Gunslinger's in. Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Got the Savitor.
Leave it up to Duke.
And we got a whole big mess here on the table, all for just kind of eye candy.
And a lot of leather.
A lot of fun.
A lot of leather.
A lot of airsoft.
Yeah.
Some of these holsters I haven't seen for a while, and all of a sudden they showed back up. I guess they're like a bad penny.
Yeah, where's that? Mine. I'll just show that
Right
off.
there.
All right, that might be some of the most wear, other than some of the ones Duke wears in his reenactment that one of his holsters has gotten. I wore that all for the first part of the summer there. Held up really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the toe end, you know, the burnish has gone off it. But yeah, I'm impressed that it did as well as it's done.
It probably had 3 to 4 months of solid wear. It was, and it's still getting it. But I'll probably put it back on in the wintertime.
That was being used as the Griswold holster.
That Griswold 72 open top, I did that in the dual video.
You didn't bring that, did you?
I didn't bring my 72, no.
It was
No, the
Griswold.
Griswold.
No,
That's
I
what I was
didn't.
just thinking.
We should have, but we didn't bring it. Should
That's
have.
all right.
We'll bring it. We'll put it on.
I just think about that.
But yeah, that's a testament to Duke holsters right there. That thing's held up really well.
Yeah, and with that much use, I'm surprised. Usually on these fold-over flaps, if you don't pin them, they start peeling out on top and down here on the bottom. And this one doesn't show any peeling out at all.
It's worn down to where it's kind of wide looking, but that's just because the way I wear it so much. That's how my belt sets.
And then, yeah, I've got one that I probably haven't worn as extensively, but it's got a different belt loop. I was going to show that off as soon as I take it off the belt, along with all the other junk that I got on there. Woo!
Okay.
I took my thumb off with that one. And don't mind the dogs barking. I think everybody on my block owns dogs, and they bark, and it makes my dogs bark. So if you hear that in the background, just excuse it. Set our air sauce away. So yeah, this is a little bit different style than what Garrett has on his. But you can see it's wearing pretty decent too. So they work.
They do.
Out in here, we have the good old Scofield holster. It's still doing pretty well.
And it fits the polymer frame Scofield.
Yeah. Yep. This
Model
is
3.
This is the new and improved polymer frame.
Get you through the airport.
You're gonna get a demonetized.
Yeah, we better be careful now. Yeah, that one's seen some use too.
Yeah, it's. I actually have been carrying I carry a Model 29 in this quite a bit, and it fits in there just perfectly. I guess the Model 29 and the Scofield are pretty close in size, so
That Smith and Wesson thing.
yeah, in frame.
Oh, see what's
Hi, Angelica Woods.
no, drive old Jimmy's in.
Hi, Olivia Woods.
Oh, I heard a lot of Woodses in here.
We're gaining.
Yeah, Pat, I've got something a little stouter, but I didn't want to start right in at the beginning with it. And I don't want to get these boys in trouble either.
Yeah, Mom's not watching yet, but she probably will.
I should probably watch somebody else's name.
Yeah, she's being sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, hopefully we'll get out tomorrow. We're gonna film some videos, so I might have some shooting videos come out soon.
Well,
Maybe.
Hey, I was gonna ask you about your knife. What is that? Is
This
that,
one?
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
it's just like the ones you had there where you were working?
Yeah, so this one, actually, this is a little bit different than the ones that they got. They've got the butcher rippers and the skinners.
Mm-hmm.
This is a scalper. This is Sheffield. And Sheffield, they were imported in the United States during the fur trade era. So this was one of the most popular knives that was out there. And a buddy of mine went over to England and brought a bunch of these back and sold them to the bookstore where I was working at. So I bought one of them because I wanted an actual Sheffield. So I've been using it, and it's pretty rusty, I know, but I used to carry it on, kind of an Indian style sheath right on my back. You sweat through it, so it's kind of pitted on the blade for me sweating on it, but it holds a good edge still.
That's pretty cool.
But I haven't skinned a beaver with it yet, but I've cut a couple roasts. And the funny thing about the Sheffields is when you cut a hot roast on there, it turns the blade blue.
Really?
Yeah, you can see the blue right up there on the
that's
end of it.
the
So you ever
quality.
watch Barbecue Pit Boys?
No, I haven't watched too much of their stuff.
They have the old hickory out of the Canadian Steel Company. That's what I got, and it looks just like a butcher.
Right.
And that's what I got and I carry. It's an 8-inch butcher, I think. It's kind of overkill for just carrying.
Right.
That's
I
pretty
got
sweet.
a 6 and an 8-inch Green River butcher, and they're all right copies, but the Sheffields are a lot closer. The only thing wrong with these new ones is they do a 4-pin handle instead of a 5-pin, but really that's not that big a issue with them. Right now, I think it's kind of dull. but-
That's pretty sharp.
Hi, Anna. Oh, Duke, or Jeremy's got a question for you, Duke.
Yeah. I can't hardly read it from here.
He asked you, you got your phone? He asked you,
No, it's dead.
how much would a historical belt for a cavalry soldier be? Belt, ammo pouch, and everything. I work nights now and don't have the time to do leather work now.
Oh, I'd have to refer you to ushist.com, so ushist.com. They carry the belts. I'm trying to think of who does the other ones. I want to say Missouri Boot and Shoe does the cartridge boxes like this one. And I actually got this as a kit I ordered online. It's all cut out. You just got to do the stitching on it, which I kind of screwed up on the pouch, but we won't tell too many people that. And then, I set the rivets on here. Originally, they didn't have, to my knowledge, they didn't have rivets. But I put that on there just as kind of a little extra insurance. And it'll carry 3 paper cartridge boxes, which I've got repros of those in here.
How many per box? 5?
6.
6.
6 rounds per box. And then also in here, which I can't get to, I've got my Colt, my 51 Navy tool, which is a screwdriver and a nipple wrench on it. And I'll tell you right now, don't use a screwdriver. You'll screw up the heads of your screws.
Where do you get that authentic?
I got this from Taylor's and Company, actually.
Oh, yeah?
They got one, and then I've got one for the pocket model, which is in my leatherworking box back there. Because I was going to make another little pouch for that one, and I haven't done it yet.
That belt he's asking about, would it be the same as that one of mine there?
No, it would be the standard saber belt. So they've got a unique buckle system. So it's 2 brass portions. You got the main brass buckle plate, and then there's another little piece that it clips into. And then actually the belt is like super long, and then it folds over itself, and it's got a hook that goes through the belt loop holes. So it would be a piece that fold over and lock in, and that's how you adjust your length. And then you just pinch it over to, so it's always the same size set. God, I want to say it was like $50 for the belt. You're probably looking at that much, or a little more for, excuse me, the cartridge boxes. And then for the cap box, you're looking anywhere up to $50. I was looking at it the other day, but I can't remember the prices off the top of my head. But yeah, I don't make them. At some point, maybe. But right now, I'll just, I don't make them. I don't offer them. Mostly because of belts. You have to buy a lot of leather to make a belt. And if you don't sell a lot of belts, you're sitting on a lot of leather.
We got a question here from Landon Simpson. He's jumping right in with the big guns right here.
All right.
Question for everybody. Colt or Scofield? And why would you say Colt? Which way are we going to go? Let's start with Duke, because everybody here probably knows the tension around
And
here.
just so everybody knows, these are airsofts that are sitting on the table here. So, put it this way, Colt got the contract, Scofield didn't. I haven't fired the Scofield, so I can't give an honest opinion on pros or cons for it just yet. One nice thing I can say about it, just playing with it, is that it's going to be a lot easier to reload and unload. Downside is you get to pick up your brass. But the nice thing about the Colt, the way it's designed, to handle black powder fouling pretty well. And really, I mean, it unloads just fine. You got that extra ejector rod on there. Overall feel, I do like the feel of the Colt a little bit better than I do the Scofield. But like I said, I haven't messed with the Scofield too much before. So tomorrow I'm going to get that experience.
How about you, Caleb? Oh, come on. You got to take a side now. I know what you're thinking. I do know what you're thinking, but you got to say it.
Well, I have both.
Yeah, but which one do you prefer?
Oh, I kind of like some of the Smith & Wessons, like the Model 3 Russian.
Yeah.
It's pretty all right one.
But what about Scofield?
It's really all right.
You like Scofield more than Single Action Army?
I like how you're going to say. Are you safe to say you're on the Smith & Wesson side of the fence?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, good. He owns both of them, so he can say whatever he wants.
All right, I guess I'll get in on this. So I like the Scofield because
You don't have to if you don't want to.
I do. Because like I said, this thing is pretty much the same size. I'm gonna set that right there as the in-frame Smith & Wesson revolvers, and that's kind of what I've gotten used to shooting. The grip is a little different from the Colt. The Colt grip gets it where you can grab that hammer a lot easier, but in a gunfight, that reloading, especially on horseback, is going to be pretty handy. This one gums up pretty easily with the black powder, but we were talking about that, and that may be just this reproduction.
Yeah.
Because it's been converted over to 45 Colt from 45 Scofield, which that's another discussion. The Single Action Army is more powerful, and yeah, I don't know. I just like the Scofield. I do think that in a gunfight, I think I could do better with it personally.
What was it, Mike Bellevue said that the Scofield was a shooting revolver and the Colt's a fighting revolver.
Yeah.
I'll go on and say that for video's sake, a lot of times I'll say I'm not a fan of this. In reality, this is the better looking gun, I want to say. It's the more advanced gun. Smith & Wesson had it going there. And this is what I've discussed this with Ethan many times, but if I was going out into a gunfight in 5 minutes, I would probably grab that. But if I was going out on the prairie for 5 months, I would probably take the Colt, simply because there are so many fiddly bits in that gun.
Right.
And the timing is quite a bit more tricky. And there are no parts stores in this era. You're going to go a long ways for parts. And at the same time, you can burn a lot of shells faster, I guess, with that. I don't know, maybe. But I grew up with John Wayne, and John Wayne carried something like this, and I'm going to stick with it. It's the more simple gun, more powerful, and I think in reality it does for what you're going to do. You're going to carry a gun a lot more than you're going to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I would say that as an everyday gun, this is by far the better gun for me.
And
that one's more high tech.
I got
right.
one more thing to say about that. Well, a few more things, just real quick. The design really did prove itself because that design went all the way into World War One and was pretty well accepted there.
Yeah.
And especially whenever it switched over to smokeless powder, that was definitely a big game changer for it. And another thing I like about the Scofield over the standard Model 3 is the sights. The sights on the Model 3 are really fine, whereas you got practically a barn door
sights
for that rear sight on that. So whenever you're pulling it out and you're shooting quickly, you can, at least I can, acquire my target quicker with that gun.
The one thing that, from what little I've handled that I noticed though, is when I grab it, I've got the Colt style grip and I grab it really high.
Yeah.
So when I point, the barrel's actually setting about that much too high. I got to learn to grab it a little lower, which then makes it harder for me to hit that hammer.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like about it is you're empty, you're loaded, you're shooting.
Yeah.
That thing was just so far ahead of its time was its only issue.
It's like you're down
I
again.
was actually going to see here how it compared in size on the cylinder.
There went your bushing.
There went the bushing. I guess it's still good and lubed up. And cylinders, actually the Colt cylinder is just a hair longer.
I think that cylinder
Just a hair.
elongated though on the reproduction
For the Colt?
for the Scofield because now it's a 45
right.
Colt.
Yeah, but it's still a little bit shorter than the 45 Colt one here. But yeah, I was basing more on the 45 Colt size than the original. So yeah, they're pretty similar. Yeah, they're even similar diameter, so not much difference there on them.
I'll tell you this though, if I could pick any of the Model 3 the Model 3 variants, I'd actually probably pick the Frontier model, 4440.
Now the one I handled, the new model American, first model American,
Yeah.
I handled that at a gun store. That grip frame, I could grab it perfect and I could hit the hammer.
Yeah.
So if I ever get my hands on one of them, that might be my new favorite over a Colt. But for the Scofield, I mean, like I said, the nice thing on it, that quick reload, you can pop it closed after you load it. But
And it is easier to keep track of your brass with a Colt.
this is true. When we go do the shooting tomorrow, I was going to get after Ethan on there. Like, if you've ever seen that movie Nevada Smith,
Yeah.
Pick up that brass. Glad we've all seen that one.
Yeah.
10 cents a piece.
You know, I'm kind of curious why I got this in my hand.
Yeah, pretty close. It
I
doesn't
think
even
that's
hit the latch.
That's a pretty decent fit right there. Doesn't cover the trigger and oh wow. Maybe it's not a good fit, but I can shorten that up. But yeah, it's bottoming out on something.
Yeah, here's the
I think it's
holster.
the trigger guard.
Oh, it's bottoming out right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
But he actually does make a real Scofield holster.
Yeah. Did you guys bring the Slim Jim one?
No, the Model 3 we didn't bring it. The holster.
We should have.
That I think that fits better anyway.
Well, the Slim Jim is basically it's the same body as this, just without the flap on it.
Well, it doesn't have the groove cut in it.
It
it
does.
has the
It
grip
does,
cut in
yeah,
it.
yep. Yeah, because that back sight on the number 3 actually lines up with the back sight on the latch there, and the barrels are the same length where they line up, so the frame's actually a little longer on the number 3. Actually, the barrel. Anyway, it all lines up, so you can use either one of them. And the other nice thing about the Scofield holster, which I got to put my gun back together, is it will fit the Colt. It's exactly the same body. I just had to cut that notch for the back sight. What I'm thinking of before I lose my bushing again.
And yeah,
Together.
that's the same gun as this. Is that the Cimarron?
Yeah,
That's just this is a 4 3/4 inch barrel.
I'll hold this.
That is the what is it 7.5?
yeah,
inch
this is
barrel?
7.5. Which now I gotta try to line up.
Maybe if I could get the little
Yeah, go get your little airsoft there, so you have something to compare.
Now, this is the one thing I hate about the Uberti base pins. They've got that double notch system in there.
You just pop the dinky over.
Well, there ain't no dinky on this one.
Oh yeah, you got a screw, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, did that come with a knurled screw?
Yeah, it's got the knurled. Yours, I noticed, is the flush mount.
It came with a knurled screw, and I literally searched and searched and searched. Didn't think I had it, and then I watched Plowboy's video, and he said, "Yeah, it's right in the box, down in that X."
See, mine didn't have it in the box.
So yeah.
Yeah, but because Cimarron started doing that because people were, and I could get a hold of Cimarron because Dustin Weiner did that with his. He's got the Pieta, the Frontier model one, which is basically the same damn gun. He got a hold, and they sent it for free. So one of these days I'll do it. I just haven't done it yet.
Now that the Pieta doesn't have the coil spring in the.
They're both identical. They both got the coil with
Do
the
they?
pin riding on the hand.
Okay.
They don't have that little hand.
I wonder if you can order
spring.
that. I mean, I know you wouldn't really want to, but just for authenticity.
No, because imagine when they machine that thing through there, there's probably burrs it's going to ride on and get hung up on.
Yeah,
But,
see,
yeah, I don't-
run these two together.
Yeah,
I think that I know what Plowboy's talking about now.
this one's got a heck of a lot lighter mainspring.
The short one has the Cowboy comp spring in it.
I don't know if I can call it a cowboy comp spring or just a real light, because
Just a real
Uberti's
light.
been, well,
They probably said that on yours too.
yeah, on the that pocket model of mine, and probably the same on yours. The mainsprings are really light. I got Walker's got a really light one, but yeah,
I wanted to test that.
they.
I'll be right back.
I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, the 7.5. This one's got a lot stouter spring, but this one is probably a little bit older, and I think we're gonna get. I might have to shut the windows here. Let's see. See, 21. They don't even
Yeah.
stamp the date code. They stamp the year. So this is made this year. This was made. See, I bought that in 17.
I bought that one right off the boat. It was I could not find one for forever.
Tried to talk him into trading for a 4440, but he wouldn't do it. I don't know what his problem was. But yeah, it's,
I went to searching for the Pieta Frontier, and I had one on order, and it's still on order, and it's been 7 months ago. That one came in, and I snatched it up as quick as I could.
oops.
We want to test this. Now, did you change the mainspring in your 49 pocket
No,
model?
I did not.
They both feel.
I would start really flipping this around, but I don't want to break something.
I don't think you'll hurt
it.
it.
I'm more worried about hurting the table.
Yeah, these are the same. They're both too late.
Yeah. But we got two guns, so if they don't work in the video, we can always just kind of pry them apart.
Yeah, put the two
And
springs
swap the
together.
spring on one, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
these are about the same. In fact, they are the same. They're identical.
Yeah.
Although I
So
noticed your wedge isn't. Well, no, your wedge is in further than mine is.
yours has the different style spring. Yours is older. The different style spring you had to cut.
No, that was actually my 62 Pocket Police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like old Doug Murray here says, in a gunfight, the gun you shoot the best is, well, the gun you shoot the best, not a gun that reloads faster, is bigger caliber.
Yours is actually older than mine.
Is it?
Yeah, it's CN. This is a CS.
Take the gun you shoot the best. A 44 might be a bigger caliber, but if you can't hit anything, it's not good.
Okay.
Well,
Here you go. You're taking that. I'll take this, and we'll see.
I'm gonna go rat hunting.
Oh yeah.
You haven't have you introduced this one to them, Caleb? They've probably seen it, maybe. This is an original. Watch your point here. Smith & Wesson Model 1 airsoft, and 22 short black powder airsoft. And yeah, might do a little shooting with this tomorrow too. You got to handle this one yet?
I haven't handled that one yet, so I gotta.
That's what is going to be going up against the 49 pocket model.
So how do you?
Okay, so
You got
It's a little tricky.
you take and you pull this up. See here.
Okay.
And then the
Oh.
barrel
It's a top break, and then you take cylinder out and load it.
pop your cylinder out.
It looks like a sewing spool to me.
It kind of does, and then you
And
use
that's
that.
how you.
Empty cases out. Put your new cases in, and
And then you shoot them 5 more times, and hope they die.
yeah. We actually
7.
used that as a Christmas tree ornament last year.
So what's the deal with this?
That is
That's
your
a locking leg.
that's your
Cylinder stop.
cylinder stop.
Oh, that. Oh.
And I
okay.
actually
Goes
had
down,
to
it
fix
comes from the
that.
top.
because that didn't have a spring in it when we got it, and so I actually took a Juice Harp spring.
He took a perfectly good Juice Harp from Alabama.
I can't even see the sights
Yeah.
to line up on anything.
That's what I said. It's you
Don't have to line up from me to you.
you got to aim about 9 feet low.
No, if I was going to go up against a rat with that, I'd file that front sight off.
Probably.
When the rat takes it away from you and sticks it up your behind, it don't hurt so bad.
Well, that's the trouble these days. They're being too hard on the rats. Easier on the rats, let's say.
Oh, gee.
But yeah, it is a dinky thing. Like, it is a teeny tiny little pistol. Like I said, that thing.
And
works.
it will not stand up against 49 pocket model.
Probably not.
Tell you right now.
But it is fun. It is.
I'm kind of trying to figure out why they even put rifling in it.
Yeah.
Out straight.
That is what is it called now? I can't think of it. Carcano style.
That's gang rifle.
Oh, it's
Gang
gang
rifling, yeah, almost straight to the very end, just like
Yeah.
Colt. Original Colt.
You know, it's funny. I got an original. I've got a Carcano.
Yeah.
That was. It's a carbine that was cut down, so it don't shoot where the crud.
So they cut the actual twist out and it's just
So
straight.
yeah, so it. It starts gaining a little twist there, but it doesn't reach the max. But it was a rifle that was converted to a carbine. So yeah, what ammo I did have out of it and shot it at 100 yards, you got a 30-foot wide spread. So
If you guys, I'm sure most of you know what we're talking about, but if you don't, gang rifling is something they put in sporting rifles in the 1830s and
Yeah.
40s.
and actually all the Colts had gain twist rifles.
All the long barrel ones, anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Then the Italians thought they
And
did.
they thought what it is if you shoot a soft lead round ball into a really tight barrel. This is the way I understand it. Anyway. If you shoot a soft lead ball into a really tight twist rifling right off the bat, it can strip the ball.
Yep.
And so the idea is it grabs the rifling, and the rifling's almost completely straight to the last, say, inch and a half of the barrel. Then it puts a twist.
Yep.
And that's gain rifling. And
Colts were very accurate with that gain twist rifling, but the Italians are a little slow to catch on to that. Plus, it's actually harder to rifle a rifling like that.
They actually
they
kept
thought
it-
they came up with it.
They thought they came up with it, and they kept it as a national secret. Like, yeah, it was confidential.
Colt had you predated by
Yeah.
about
75 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We love you too, Mom.
Is that Gina?
Yeah. You got any experience with Taylor and Company?
Yeah.
a little bit.
Taylor's. That's where I get a lot of my gun parts from. If I can't get it from them, I go through Cimarron. But I ordered this barrel from Taylor's. That's why it says Taylor's on here. And actually, this is Uberti Stoger import. Excuse me. But yeah, all my gun parts on all the guns that I got here that I've had to replace parts on went through Taylor. So I really like theirs. I like dealing with Cimarron for buying the guns because Cimarron goes to the lengths to get the more authentic reproductions. But yeah, Taylor's a good company. Don't get me wrong; they're a really good company, and I'll keep dealing parts with them as long as I can. But yeah, both are good companies. That's for sure.
We've never bought a gun through Taylor,
I've never bought a full gun from them either.
but we
Bought some parts.
went to buy the hand spring or the bolt
The
spring.
hand.
Spring for a second generation Colt Walker. Oh, he did have a little bit of issue with them, but that was also during the pandemic, so it could have been.
Yeah.
That's kind of our feeling with it. But I've heard a lot of people have good dealings with them.
The one downside to dealing with Taylor's for parts is like this barrel. I had to wait 1.5 years to get
Yeah.
it in.
And if you're not ready to get it when they get it in, you're just going to be out of luck because it's going to go down the line.
Yeah. Springs, small parts. You usually once you place an order, you get it within a couple days. And I was at one point almost on first name basis with the parts guy. I think there's a thunderstorm coming in. I hope I don't screw up the internet. So anyway, if we die off here suddenly without warning, there's a thunderstorm coming in, so we could lose power or internet at any given time. And it's getting close. I don't know. I should probably pull up the radar and take a look and see what it's doing.
Oh, looks like you guys could use a little rain.
Yeah, it's dry around
It
here. In
is
fact,
really dry
we
around
had quite a
here.
bit of rain, last Thursday, but
If any of you guys wanted to know what the Fort Laramie area of Wyoming looks like South Central Kansas. It
Yeah.
does, except for it's a lot grassier and a lot browner right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've even got the Rocky Outcropping Hills like we do. Instead of ours are red, and theirs are white.
Yeah.
Well, you get up there around Guernsey, they've got a lot of red up there, but
If you just go 30 miles that way, you're in mountains. Though, so it's kind of amazing.
which the area down around here, like there's a big reservoir south of here that's Gray Rocks Reservoir. You know, the rocks around here are gray and white. If you want to get into the geology of it, they're Miocene in age. I don't remember exactly what group they are, but I think they're part of the Rickery group. But yeah, they were good for making concrete. That's why most of the buildings built after 1860 something were concrete buildings.
That and they don't burn down as easy.
Yeah.
This is true.
Looks like Jeremy's got something for you, dude.
Yeah.
He said, look out for his next video. He misspoke in his last live stream with you, and someone pointed it out.
Okay. I don't remember which one that was. It's been a little while ago.
Doug Murray wants to know if we make our own percussion caps because of the shortage, and we have any tips on making percussion caps.
So there's that company. I can't remember the name of them, but they make the 22 reloading kits. They got a percussion cap maker. I've been thinking about getting one. I'm too busy with other stuff to worry about it right now. But it's going to become an option here before too long. I'm going to have to do it unless some caps start showing up. And Dustin, I know Dustin finds them occasionally over in Utah, and I got a buddy down in Denver that finds them here and there. But when you start getting out in these little rural areas where cap and ball ain't real popular, you ain't going to find a percussion cap.
Nope. We got, if you watched our road trip video, we have our 110 with us.
We have
It's
one
gold.
that, but they're hidden.
They're
I
110.
talk these guys into going by my house back home in Colorado. They could have got, a couple thousand.
It was only going to be an extra all around like 10 hours of driving. So, we thought about it. We thought, just shoot a few less cap and ball.
Just worrying about caps. I just got to worry about 22 and 32.
That's just because your guys are late to the game. We had some question, Landon Smith, and this is a question on our History Lovers live chat we discussed. On the Cimarron website, the Colt Cavalry model's color case hardening looks really yellow and brown. Do you all know if it looks normal in person? We had this discussion, and of everyone that actually, Plowboy owned one, and he said it didn't look any different, and we thought maybe it was the lighting when they took the picture. I don't know. I've never owned one. I've looked at that picture and had the exact same thought. I know the one that Plowboy's Ghost Channel has it might be, he said it might be a little more yellow, but it doesn't look like that picture. Maybe his is just a one-off. I don't know.
Let's see. Zombie Killer asked something about a 19. I got a old style 1911 holster. It's the Mexican double loop. You guys didn't bring that with you, did you?
I did not bring it.
It's actually, if you go back and watch our first road trip video, it's the Scofield sneaks up on it. It's sitting on the freezer if you want to freeze frame.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a copy of a historical 1911 holster that was a Mexican double loop. So that's what I've got currently. I could probably modify that to a Slim Jim pattern, which would be, if you take the flap off this one, just be a wraparound with a belt loop like this.
That model right there, that actually looks like a lot of like the old government issued 1911 holsters with the top flap and everything.
Yeah. And if I take time to do it, but the thing about it, I don't have a 1911 here, and I've got to have a model to do full flap holsters with, because that actually takes quite a bit of trial and error with it to get it to work out. In fact, I think I've got 2 prototype holsters in leather that the flap won't come all the way around on. But yeah,
that 1911 holster that he makes right now, though, for an ATI?
Yeah.
It fits snug enough. You don't have to worry about it falling out. And not. What else have you ran in that? Your Glock?
No, I couldn't get a Glock in it, but
your SIG?
No, definitely not SIG. I got a AREX Delta. I've been carrying around with it just because it's a gun I can carry around, beat it up. Doesn't really bother me because it's a polymer frame pistol.
Ruger Security 9 fits in there.
Yep. It does.
Some of those smaller medium frame polymer
Yep.
guns fit in there pretty
Medium
good.
frame, as long as it's not a Glock, because they're like a 2x4.
Right. Which, if you got enough ammo, I want to try that A-Rex tomorrow.
Okay.
We're going to do a video where you're going to test some guns you don't even know you're going to test.
Yeah. Although I impressed him, I unloaded that thing and caught the bullet in midair. When I
Yeah,
did it.
that was
With
left-handed
his
even. I was like, wow.
It's like, I'm not just on Old West guns. I've never shot an AK-47, but I've taken one down, and I'd never handled one before, and I've stripped it. So yeah.
Should have brought old bloodletter.
We got
Yeah, you should have brought it.
Oh, shit.
I wanted to fire an AK-47.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be hard to get ammo pretty quick because you're not
That's-
getting nothing else from Russia.
Well, and the thing is, 7.62 ammo. Was
Becoming available.
it was available, and it wasn't marked up like 223
Yeah.
was. It was pretty reasonable price, but
That's
that's probably going to change in the next few days. Because I noticed that Tula steel case ammo, which I could get like 500 rounds for $250, is up $350 now,
Yep.
almost overnight. So I should have bought ammo when I was thinking about it.
You're the Army guy. What does that stand for? I forget.
What am I looking at here?
Public. The game. The video game.
Think about getting a black powder revolver.
No, the name.
Oh, PUBG player.
I understand that. What does PUBG stand for? I forget.
It's a video game. I played it before.
Battleground.
Yeah, Battleground. Player unknown.
Player unknown.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Player unknown battleground player 1744 games has a question. He said, I'm thinking about getting into black powder revolver soon. Okay, this would be for all of us. Going in between the 47 Walker, 51 Navy, or the 1858 Remington. Not any originals, can't afford to. Any suggestions on what I should get?
51 Navy.
I like
It's a
the
great
Navy.
start.
I'd say 51 Navy too.
51 Navy's good start.
A Walker, you're going to be shooting twice the cost.
Yep.
Almost three times the cost what you'd shoot that Navy. And if you decide you don't want to get into it, I mean, you're not going to be in as much because Walker's going for like 500 now, I think, is the last
More.
price I seen. And the Navy's getting in the $400 range if you go with Uberti. If you're wanting one that's completely historically accurate looking, or as close as you're going to get, Uberti's good. If you just want something to go shoot at the range, buy Pieta. There's nothing wrong with Pieta. They're just, for a reenactor, living historian standpoint, they're ugly. But other than that, they'll outlast a Uberti if you shooting a lot.
I have two Pieta 1851 Navies. They've had parts replaced in them, but both of them have right at around 3,000 rounds through them. You're going to replace some parts at that point. But one of them I actually converted into a Griswold and Gunnison, and it's still going. But my thoughts on the Walker are all these guns, when you get them, they're going to shoot just a little bit high, and you don't know where they're going to shoot. Out for right off the bat when you're learning, and it's so much easier to do with 36 than it is with a Walker, because that big bang and that flash and that boom, you're going to be shocked, kind of like a flintlock for a little while.
Not to mention that smoke cloud that
Yeah,
comes out.
and it's
into that.
really hard to nail down how these Colts shoot unless you practice with something like a 36 first. The Remington, if you're well versed in more modern revolvers or even the 773, the Remington's good. I don't personally prefer it just because I don't know.
They're probably
They foul out really quick.
that's what I was about to say. So I've owned the 36 caliber and the 44 caliber Remingtons. I've had the Remington New Model Army and the Remington New Model Navy, and I like the 36 better. But like he said, they do tend to foul up quicker. But I noticed that me personally, I can shoot the Remington better.
Yeah,
And the
but
Colt.
there's nothing wrong
That's
with
me.
them. More people today like the Remington than the Colt, and a lot more people like the Colt than the Remington. But the Remington is a good gun if you want to go that way. It's more like a modern revolver. The sights are easier to get accustomed to. It has a different set of quirks, and the Colt for me is more iconic.
Yeah, and the 58 Remington, the copies on them, both Uberti and Pieta, they gum up after 10, 15 rounds.
And if you get the Navy, you're not actually getting a copy of the original Remington Navy. You're getting a copy of the original Remington Army, not even scaled down, just bored out to 36 so that it's way heavier.
Okay.
It's got a little shorter barrel,
Yeah, it does have.
but the frame and everything is still 44 caliber. Even the cylinder, it just has a smaller hole drilled in it. So it's really heavy. It makes good for shooting.
Makes it a good shooter, but
it's not very accurate historically. Now the 44 Armies, I've heard Mark Hubbs say that the Remington 44 New Model Army the Pieta is actually more historically accurate size-wise than the Uberti. But I started out on Remingtons. They were good for me, but once I got Colt, I really didn't look back.
Yeah.
Duke's bringing something in here.
He's bringing a lot of something in here.
I lied. I did have
A lot of airsoft.
So yeah, on the Remington.
Yep.
And I didn't clean that after I shot it last. Ooh boy. That's been a few years ago. So, and I don't see any rest in it. So I might have got lucky on that. But with this closed top frame on the Remington, yeah, it gives a little extra strength. But see, Remington, the cylinder just rides right on to the base pin. So on the Colt, when they went to the closed frame on the 73 single action, they put a bushing in there so it would keep turning. That's why on a black powder load, the Colt 73 will outrun the Remington. Your mom's wondering if you got your
No, cousins are.
I offered them beer, but they said no. I only had one, so they'd have had to share. But yeah, these things gum up after 15, 20 rounds. You'll run more rounds through the Colt without cleaning. But the nice thing about the Colts with cleaning them is they're easier to clean than the Remington too, because all you got to do with these, and you can clean them real easy, is you pop the barrel off. You can clean the barrel from the back like you should. You can clean the cylinder, whereas with the Remington, you're cleaning from the front. So if you ain't careful, you'll wear out your rifling a lot faster. But yeah, I they all got their positives and their benefits, but I think the Colt has more pros than the Remington does.
Mind if I say
It was
Remington for a
in
second?
history. There was many more Colts sold than Remingtons.
So I like the Remington, but I'm gonna say a few things about it here. Everybody likes to say that they prefer these because you can.
And
load
he
them
likes
up.
them better than Colts, by the way.
I actually do like Remingtons quite a bit, but everybody likes to say that they prefer the Remington because you can load it hotter or whatever. Me personally, I don't know. I guess you could load it hotter, but my question is, how hot do you have to load it? Like seriously.
I have squeezed 40 grains of
Yeah.
black powder in that, and I tell
40
you
grains.
what,
You do that with
it's-
your game.
yeah, yeah, and when you squeeze 40 grains in that light of a gun,
It's gonna buck real
yeah,
hard.
you're getting a little bit high. Not that it couldn't handle it. I mean, it'll shoot a 45 Colt black powder load just fine if you get a conversion cylinder.
Yeah, if you're thinking about going conversion, that's probably the way to go.
Yeah,
with
that's
Remington,
actually
because
the
it's
easiest
way
one to
cheaper
convert
and
up.
way easier to switch into conversion cylinders.
Yeah. Yeah, all you got to do is do a little cut in that recoil shield if you want to go with the gated system. Or if you just want to buy the conversion cylinder, I mean, those are really easy to do that.
And the conversion cylinders for this are historically accurate, whereas the slip-in conversion cylinders for the Colt are something that was come up with by Hollywood. I'm not talking about the gate loading conversion that like he's got right
Talking
over there.
about the ones with the disc that goes on the back.
Where you break your gun apart, you break the Colt apart, put the conversion cylinder in, and then remake that. It works, but that's something Hollywood came up with to get around making blanks out of black powder.
Yeah.
But Jeremy has a point here. He says Remington tip is use extra lube and spark plug anti-seize on the cylinder pins. It helps a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
but if you're going on the historical loads, Colt will outrun it.
Colts don't even technically. Okay, I'm gonna get trouble.
Yeah,
Colts
you-
don't even really need lube. You should have it. Like he's got a video out where he got a chain fire.
Yeah.
You should have it probably to avoid chain fire, but a lot
And-
of the historical documents, look in the books, expressly say do not use wad or grease on
Right.
a Colt.
And that chain fire, it also could have been to the nipple. I don't know which way it was, if it was from the front or from the back. It could have been from the back, but yeah, that Pieta Patterson, much as I hate that gun, I fired 15 rounds through it. I never lubed it once, and it ran smooth. I fired this without lube, and it's run smooth. After you start getting 15, 20, 35 rounds, it's going to start gumming up. But it's going to gum up anyway with lube.
A lot of people wonder why by the 1860s Colt did not put a top strap on. The truth of the matter is Colt had been putting a top strap on since 1855.
This is a root pistol, essentially.
in the root gun, and it just, even on those, that's documented that the fouling builds up on there, and so they purposely decided to go with the open top design all the way through until 1872 and into 73 when they get into 73. That is on purpose designed to keep the gun moving, because people, even in the Civil War, were complaining, even on some Colts, that there was a little bit of a gum up, and so they were dipping the cartridges in wax and everything else,
Right.
Black powder gums guns up, and that is the reason top persisted for so long, because it is a better black powder design.
Because when you fire this, all that fouling goes up and out.
But yeah,
Whereas on this, that fouling hits this top strap and then just goes right back into the action.
Cool.
Because I can fire this Colt all day long, run my finger down the barrel and the side, and it won't have very much fouling. You fire one round in this,
your
and
cylinder will turn white.
things I didn't clean it.
You can still tell.
It's still got fouling on. I think what I did is I cleaned the bore and the cylinders, and I didn't wipe it down the gun, but it didn't even rest on the outside where it was there. So I'm doing good.
We've been discussing this. I know we're stuck on the Remington right now. We're not bashing the Remington. Remington's a great gun, especially if you're, you shooting conversions or something after the war. It's a great gun. We've all seen Clint Eastwood take
Very
it.
accurate.
Well, Pale Rider, we've all seen him change them cylinders while that guy's casually watching him change cylinders and, do the whole thing. And that's awesome. But it wasn't really a thing with Remingtons in the Civil War. For one, they didn't ship more than one cylinder with them. And for another, Remingtons were handmade guns, whereas Colts were made on the Lincoln Miller machine, which was something that they didn't make. But Elijah K. Root really made that machine work for pistols, and you could make every single cylinder work with every single Colt gun. Remington did not have that. You would have had to time to every single cylinder. In order to switch cylinders, you would have had to time every single cylinder you had to that particular frame.
Right.
And it would make it extremely difficult to switch out cylinders. So that really would take the Remington. The one thing the Remington really has going for it, besides the sighting system, that really it doesn't exist.
And with the Colt, you can time the cylinder to the gun. With the Remington, you have to time the gun to the cylinder, because if you look on the back here, it's smooth. The notch or the hand actually grabs notches or machined out in the back, whereas this are machined out as teeth. So you can file those teeth down and time that to the gun. You really can't file that out and time it. So swapping cylinders on a Remington, that might go in, but it might not be in time.
You might blow the gun up because it's got a top strap on it.
Yeah, got a little rust in there. I didn't clean the bore. Bad Duke.
But like I said, we're not going to bash the Remington. That Remingtons are what I started on. Yeah. I have a Remington frame that is nothing but a frame because I wanted to do that road agent spin so bad, and I practiced. I had that gun when I was probably 14 years old, 13, and I practiced all the way through. I practiced all the way through college. I dropped that gun so many times, shot it, didn't clean it, and it literally is sitting in our studio on the shelf. It's just a frame. I need to rebuild it.
And that same pistol. I took my first deer with that pistol, loaded with 40 grains of black powder. We'll take a deer. I guess that's one reason to load up. Pretty warm. But
the real trick is to do it with two hands.
Yeah.
Because your left hand is so hard.
But
oh, look at there. Now do it with two walkers. You better have wrists of steel.
My toe still hurts.
You did that on video, didn't you?
I did on video, but it's not released.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this over the carpet in case I drop it. I can't hit the hammer when I do it with the Dragoon. There, I got it.
Is that your Dragoon or your walker?
This is the Dragoon. I didn't have your walker.
All right, now try it with this one.
The idea is... knock that all over. The idea is to start out down low, for me anyway, so that I'm not covering myself down on the right-hand side, so that I'm not pointing it at myself. And then if you can hit it just about every time. Yeah, I didn't hit it that time, but it's actually kind of safe if you do it down low and don't cover your own body when you do it. There's Plowboy. Plowboy's here.
Wow, boy. Yeah, then my other favorite road agent spin, I'm going to use Garrett's shorter one here.
The curly bill spin.
Yeah, so when I do the curly bill spin, I tried doing it with the first finger here, and it won't flip. Middle finger don't flip very good, but with your ring finger, it flips really good.
It might work better with a longer barrel.
And with a pinky, I managed to you can't really get a hold of it well with the pinky, but yeah, it'll pop right around.
Let's see him do that with
Plowboy said it's a lawman's dream. 4 good arrests in one building. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a curly bill road agent spin. Then the Josie Wales. Let's see, what was the other one? I used to know there was one where you flipped it around. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
You flip it around.
You flip it around to the other hand.
Oh, it was yeah, you flip it around like this, so you hand it. And I used to play around with these a lot.
I prefer the
It's been
road
a while.
agent spin because feels like there's a lot less moves, even if that flip.
And you're less likely to drop it than I are when I'm flipping it in my
I
hand.
said I completely ruined a perfectly good Remington doing that over and over and over again for about 10 years.
And then this is the other one.
Now Duke's got some tricks up his sleeve. Go watch his carrying a cap and ball video in the Old West.
Yeah. I used to play around with the Buscadero rig a lot. I could do the spin, drop it in, but I didn't bring my Buscadero rig in.
And I am confident.
And no, I am not drinking when I'm stuttering. It's sarsaparilla.
I am confident that when Ethan goes to outduel Duke, Duke's going to win. He's going to avenge my death.
I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while.
So just keep your eyes open for that video.
If I don't shoot myself, you just got to remember, don't cock it until you're out of the holster.
Yeah.
Now, I used to do quick draw, and I was doing it with a 22 when I was a kid. And I quick drawed one day, and I barely cleared the holster, and it goes bang. And I felt it hit my boot, and I thought, oh, crap. Mom and Dad's going to kill me. And
you shot a hole in your floor, too?
no, I was actually out on the prairie when this happened. And there's a reason why that pair of boots disappeared, too.
Your mom's in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there she is. So anyway, yeah, I shoot and I felt it hit the boot, and I thought, oh crap, I done shot my toe off. So I get back to the car, and I ain't feeling any pain, so I'm sure I've shot myself at this point. And I thought, well, I better get this boot off before it hurts, and I can't get it off. So I peeled it off, and I expected to see a sock full of blood. No blood, and I thought, well, maybe I got lucky here. And I pulled my sock off, and when I was in high school, wasn't good at trimming my toes. I'm still not good, but anyway, I had my big toenail was about that much too long. There's a perfect little circle right through the tip of it, and it just missed the tip of my toe by a millimeter. In fact, there was a red line on the tip of my toe. That was the last time I quick drawed with live ammo. I've done it with blanks, but I haven't done it with live ammo since then.
All right, Ethan, tell us the proper way to do it so you don't shoot yourself the way you were doing it, the way the Army showed you to do it. You don't have to show it, just tell it. It's before he cocks that hammer, he has his hand set. This is a straight up and down. The gun has cleared the holster, picked back, and he cocks the hammer as going forward.
Yeah.
And it's really fast. We have a duel video out we just put out last week, and he beat me bad. But that's how he does it, and it's a good way to practice not to. And you're extending.
See, I'm used to what I was taught was actually, and I'm modifying it because
With
I'm
a
doing
modern handgun in the
one
Army.
hand. Yep, I'm modifying what I've learned because what you're taught there is pull out and then kind of tilt it to the side, so that way if you're close, you can start shooting this way, and then you'd have your hand up here and you're stabbing with a sword. But when I'm doing with the one hand, I'm usually cocking right about here or right about here.
But he's not cocking until the gun is tilted. And he's pretty fast, so.
I don't know about that.
When I started doing it with blanks, I found out after I watched a guy that does it professionally, like when you're drawing out of a Buscadero rig, you don't grab it like this and cock as you're coming up, because that's how you do like I did, about shoot myself in the foot. You actually come back and sweep your hand over, and as the gun's coming out, your thumb is cocking that as it comes out before your grip ever gets around to the trigger. And then by the time your finger gets on the trigger, you're clear of the holster and should be pointed down range. So it's a really smooth motion. I'll see if I can kind of demonstrate it here. So you come back and.
So do you shoot at your side or do you shoot extended?
No, I wasn't pointing at Garrett. I was pointing over towards the rocket.
It just looks like it.
What is that?
Do you shoot at your side or do you shoot at extension?
I tell you what,
At eye level.
I shot once from the hip, about right here, like this, coming out once. All that gas comes right up, so you get a nice little flash. Even from down here, you get a good flash on your face with a blank. So I come to where I kind of come out here, and I'll shoot from the hip out here or kind of halfway up. But with that 7.5-inch barrel, I did a video that I never aired. I was doing one on the Guns of Red Dead where I was shooting from the hip, trying to do like the Deadeye mode, and I hit a bottle 3 out of 5 at 10 paces. Good. So, there's a lot of practice. I practiced a lot when I was a kid. I haven't done it lately, so I'm probably pretty rusty. But
I can't hit the inside of a barn from inside the barn from the hip. I've done it with shotguns. I got a video on 500 Mossberg 500 Cruiser. Until I learned that technique that's out there now of the push and the pull at face level so that it doesn't come back and hit you in the face. You push and you pull hard at the same time as you're shooting. I couldn't hit anything with that. After that, that was a fun gun to shoot. If I'm aiming a target on the ground, I'll hit the top of a tree when I'm trying to shoot from the hip. So if I'm drawing, it's going to be, even a fast draw, it's going to be fully extended where I can see the target.
Well, I mean, really, when you think about it, you talk about this fast draw or, whatever. But what's the one time when the big duel happened out in the street that everybody talks about? It's the Hickok Tuck fight, right?
Yeah.
That was coming out
and aiming.
As some people
turn
say,
sideways.
Yeah. And they both drew about the same time.
And Hickok got lucky.
Shot at the same time, and Hickok got lucky, yeah.
Because he couldn't see anyway. He's a good shot, but that was a long way for old Hickok who had a hard eye trouble anyway.
I'll tell you right now, when shooting from the hip with one of these open tops, that's not fun shooting down here either. Get out there.
Well,
because all that gas is coming right up there. Nothing to stop it.
No, it's weird because the pro quick draw guys, the guys that use the bucket basically for their holster.
Yeah, they'll just turn.
They turn and shoot from literally right there. But I think the grip is so far twisted over that they're covering themselves with the bottom of the frame. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because when they come out, I mean, they basically just flip it up like this and shoot. Yeah, they're doing it.
Covering themselves with the bottom of the frame.
Yeah, that quick draw, that never happened in the Old West. That's a bunch of horseradish. Yeah, I had to censor myself. I about said that.
We never say never.
Yeah.
But most of them. No, I get what you're saying.
But, yeah, it was mostly the quick draw in the Old West. They were taking aim and firing. As well as it was Wyatt Earp that said, fast is smooth, smooth is slow, and slow is fast, or something to that
Take
effect.
your time in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly.
And
God, I love this gun. This little gun. I'm gonna have to buy one about that.
Don't
Actually,
you have one?
Well, yeah, I got a 44-40. I need one 45 Colt.
Just change out the barrels; it'll grip the rifling better. Or change out cylinders, it'll grip the rifling better.
Yeah. I've actually thought about swapping the barrel to a 45, putting a 45 cylinder in there, but then I'll have a brand new barrel and a worn out looking frame. But I'd actually like to get one too that's a 5.5.
Duracoat it.
He's okay. He's actually got Caleb here. He's got a Russian Bolo.
Go ahead, sorry.
He's got a Russian Bolo C96 Mauser broom handle.
You didn't bring it?
No, and it's been Duracoated.
Oh, Jesus.
And I actually reached out to, I don't know, Mark Novak.
I've heard the name, yeah.
I actually reached out to him, and he's
the gunsmith of the IS.
Yeah. Now I know why I've heard the name, yeah.
He was actually telling me that he's like, some of them were pitted so badly whenever they were imported into the U.S. that they Duracoated them. And I was like looking at it, and I could just see like a little bit of it, and I was like, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I took that slow as smooth and smooth as fast into my last gunfight on our channel, and I lost. Because the guy that was going fast was going smooth too.
I wasn't very smooth.
A lot of people are talking about the Chiappa, 1873 Chiappa. I call it a Chiappa.
I think it is pronounced Chiappa.
1873 and 22 long rifle. They're really seem to like. I've never shot that. I mean,
Yeah, well, there's been a resurgence in the 22 because Heritage is blowing up with their 22s. Ruger come out
the
with that
Ruger
new
Wrangler
one.
is awesome.
Yeah, and the Chiappas come out. Uberti a couple years ago turned loose a new 73 with a 12-shot 22 cylinder and a 6-shot 22 cylinder. And I'll tell you right now, that gun's super heavy. I handled one of those 6-shot 22s. Yeah, there's been a resurgence in them. And I started out with a Heritage 22, and after I put Ruger parts in it and fitted it, yeah, it worked really great. But they're not the best. Well, I take this back. When I got them, they were fairly new, so they weren't the best then, but I've heard they've gotten better. I know Dustin really likes them.
We are drinking Sioux City Sarsaparilla.
Yeah, I mistakenly call it
non-alcoholic.
I mistakenly call this Sunset Sarsaparilla because I played Fallout in Vegas so much, but yeah, it's Sioux City Sarsaparilla. But it's still good stuff. And the funny thing is, at work, they're giving away this stuff for free because it's actually been outdated for about a year, and it's still good. It's just got a little stronger hint of the vanilla than the new stuff does.
Talking about 22 single action armies.
Yeah.
I used to have a, what was it?
That German.
That German, it wasn't ROM. It was a H&S.
Okay, this you got to understand. He doesn't license, but this kid has been gunsmithing since he could hold a piece of gun in his hand safely, of course. So my brother's about the same age as me. You don't see him on the channel much. Juan went to a gun show and bought this cut-off German-made 22. It was
H&S, I think, is what it was.
and we shot it until we shot it to pieces. And
The firing thing blew out
we set it aside, and he's quite a bit younger than us. He come along and picked it up, and as just
$15.
a little kid, well, tell him what you did to that gun. And he's been doing this ever since.
So whenever I got the gun, the what do you call it? The dingus here on the
dinghy.
well, these ones don't have it, but on that one it had the pin that holds in your
Right, the cross pin.
yeah, the cross pin.
The dingus.
Yeah, the dingus. That
You pop the dinky over.
thing. Yep, and
Dinky, yeah.
that thing was missing, and the firing pin was actually like, I don't know, it was like machined. Somehow they had it set in there where
It was in the
It's
frame.
screwed in, actually.
well, the frame actually broke out from around the firing pin. And
It was pop.
Oh, it had bushing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I couldn't get the bushing out. So what I did was I took a finishing nail and I cut it down to the right size, and I got a little spring on there. I put it behind the head, and I got a
Pin
piece of
spring.
duct tape. And I put that in there to hold it in, and it had no sight, but I got to the point where I could, because I've been shooting bows so much at that time,
Right.
that I could get to where I naturally knew where to hold it, and I could actually hit pretty good with it.
And it lasted longer that way than it probably did with the
It lasted
original
a lot of
pieces.
rounds.
And every time that hammer hit, it just pound that duct tape down into the frame.
Just change out the duct tape every 500 rounds, and you're good to go.
But yeah. So after that, he completely built the insides of that Tobin double barrel shotgun that had no guts in it.
Which I started watching that video, but I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, don't worry, it's not too exciting.
It kind of flopped.
But I will say that double barrel shotgun is one of the best clay pigeon shooting guns I've ever handled. One of the best well balanced shotguns I've ever handled.
I kind of like my Fox.
Are we gonna do a competition on that too?
I'll tell you what, I got a bunch of shotguns, but my
Everybody-
favorite one is my duck hunting shotgun. It's a cheap TriStar that come from Walmart, and you know, it'll outshoot most of my other shotguns.
Take your hats off, boys. The president is in the chat.
Who's the president?
Jeff Davis.
Yep. Except it's Jeffrey, not Jefferson.
It doesn't matter. Jeff Davis is in the chat. Take your hats off.
Why was that you?
He just joined and saw a table full of guns without context, and he completely understands.
Well, we're Black Powder Channel, and we like the Old West guns, so that's what we got. We just threw a bunch of leather and stuff on the table, and with them kind of show off holsters, and yeah, it's a wreck, but
It's all right.
By the way, my new favorite. Duke just made this. I don't know
Yeah,
if you can see
you
that.
might have to get closer to the camera on them, but yeah.
It took him a while to do this because it was pretty intricate, but it's the basket weave with the half flap. You see that on the
Give me
edge.
a second here. I'll get a little light. Maybe back.
And I specifically asked for the maker's mark.
And it's got 2 maker's marks actually. So there's one that's actually covered by the hat flap because I screwed up on placement on that. So yeah, when you pull the flap off there, it's got the maker mark.
on the front. Let me get up in the light. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it's right there under the flap. But yeah, it took a while, but that's because I wanted this one. This is my personal going to be everyday carry. And I wanted him to do it.
There's one screw up on the one screw up in the basket weave, but fortunately it got right under here, so it's not noticeable.
Yeah.
One of them
Border
twisted on me
stamp
a little
there.
bit.
But yeah, I'm very proud of this. Ever since I came in, I've had that gun in and out of that. I cannot wait to wear this winter. It's going to be I'm going to have to kind of retire my, those of you that haven't seen, this is my everyday carry for the 1860. And I've really put some wear on it. It's held up really good though. But it's going to be switched out now. I'm going to carry a shorter barrel cross draw.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, you need the bathroom is down that hall to the left.
You guys on video get that. The bathroom is down the hall.
Yeah, the bathroom down the hall.
To the left. But yeah, I was wanting to show that off because I'm really.
How come your car lights?
That's what I'm just wondering.
I got the keys in my pocket.
Oh,
I probably just unlocked it.
Probably, yeah.
I was gonna say, hopefully it's not somebody breaking in because
Yeah,
they're
it's
gonna
okay.
have a bad
Everything.
day.
About that, yeah.
Between
Yeah.
my new
Diggy's song
katana.
will protect us.
What was it?
There's just a second model dragoon. We're good.
There's another model coming. So we're going to be fine, and it's going to be so much better. It'll have around the trigger guard.
But yeah, these guys picked this up for me at a auction there in Kansas, and it's really nice. But we got to look at it, and Ethan told me, and then I found this too, that it's made sometime in the 1930s. Boy, his nose has got a kink in the.
It's a little rough.
Well, the sheath has got a kink in it, but yeah, I looked at it. It's got good. You can see the metal in it, the high carbon. The what do they call it, the Wakazashi line, or whatever.
Like that.
It's something that comes from that other continent that we know nothing about.
Right, you can kind of see that, but you can really see the grain in the blade. So it's a real deal. But somebody took a chunk out of it because when they sharpen, it's got a ding in it. But it's my honest to God katana.
You know, if I was a guy selling at a gun show, you know what I'd tell you that chunk was? Well, that was where it hit a
That's
helmet.
where they stopped
They stopped
Allied
in the middle
bullet.
of it.
Yeah, it could be.
That's what happened.
Made 1930. The only downside to it is that somebody, when they was trying to take the handle off, they hit the pin too hard and they split the grip, so it's loose on the grip. But I think I can find somebody to fix that for relatively cheap. And then the other thing is the pin holding on this one decoration sticking out, so you got to remember when I grab it not to grab where that pin's at. But
Your butterflies?
yeah, it's got butterflies, it's got dragons,
Bamboo.
it's got bamboo on the whatever they call this, the guard,
There's a video of us at that
The
auction,
saucer
by the way.
guard.
yeah. The
Look
only
at
problem with it is it's upside down, so I need to take it off and put it right side back up. But
Let's just say it was cheap.
and then it's got scotch tape holding on the butterflies on the back. But the blade's still good.
Yep.
It's still a beautiful. Yeah, it's my first honest to God katana, and it's a real katana, and it wasn't a bank breaker either.
They're asking if any of us have ever reloaded 4570.
Yeah.
Yes. I've reloaded
Like all of us.
4570. I cannot remember my load data off the top of my head when I was reloading.
65 grains.
Well, no, whenever I was doing smokeless, because I did smokeless loads for a while, I was using 4895. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw out the load because I can't remember off the top of my head, but
And
I think we were using 405 grain bullet and
I only-
65 grains on our black powder.
black powder,
yeah, I only did black powder, and I was getting 55 grains with a 500 grain bullet, and that was not enough to stabilize. That was too big a bullet for that load.
Yeah.
But if I had a 4590, I thought about chambering it out to 4590 and then just sticking as much powder as I could get in the case and just setting the bullet kind of on top. But I decided against it.
Whack a sushi.
Whack a sushi. Whack a sushi. Whack it and you got sushi.
That does kind of remind me though about these bad boys we got here that we will be shooting. 43 Spanish.
That's going to be a fun one to shoot.
385 grain bullet with 75 grains.
The only downside where we're going to go tomorrow to shoot, the we've got 2 spots. We can go one where we can get out to about 100 yards.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of trees and stuff
Well, I
around.
like 25.
Yeah, I kind of like the 10-yard.
Yeah,
ones.
we've got we got close up. So and the nice thing about that close up is you got this giant hill that goes up, 120 feet. So we got plenty of backdrop.
I look a lot better.
For Ethan, mostly black powder and 4570 using 1F. Just came up with 5 pounds of stuff.
Oh, 1F, you could get away with.
You won't get as many grains in there.
Yeah.
Well, you can still get 55.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
If you get excuse me. I think I bought mine through Buffalo Arms. You can get a 45 caliber powder compression die, and it works great for 45 Colt too, especially if you're making a blanks with that floral foam. You can really cramp that floral foam down in there and get a good compression. But if you get one of those, you want to compress it down to where I can't remember the measurement, but you can compress it down and you can get more powder in it that way. But you got to remember, don't compress it too much because black powder will detonate under compression. That's why back in the day they always had those things. They put the powder on the anvil and take a steel plate on it and hit it with a hammer and it'd go off. Yeah, you don't want to over compress. But yeah, I know guys that they've used 1F and 2F for loading, but old Einsford 1.5 is what the professionals really recommend.
Where'd that box go?
They're asking about the. Yeah, it is a. That is a.
Colt.
That is
right
a,
here.
The 43 Spanish. It is a rolling block. It's a really nice rolling block.
I don't have.
We didn't have enough room to put it on the table.
Yeah, it's kind of big.
It
A
is
little
here,
big.
though.
It's bigger than
Okay.
the katana.
These are what I call my Plowboy loads. Plowboy's Ghost Channel, if he's still out there. These are 250 grain bullets. This is a 45 Colt, but I'm getting 40 grains in there of 3F. Old Einsford. He just mentioned Old Einsford. I was going to say, if any of you are wanting to reload this 45 Colt, you can do 3F, go Old Einsford, 250 grain bullet. It works really well. It's a handful, but it works really well. A lot of people say you can't do it, but you can.
When I was loading 250 grain bullets in the 45 Colt, I was using the lead dipper die, and the one I was getting, I don't remember what CC, but it's throwing like 38 grains of double F black powder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's close enough to 40.
Yeah.
40, you might as well just take the case and dip it until it's flush, and that's 40 grains.
It's pretty close, yeah.
That's why the military designation of that, and we call them 45 Colt now, 4570, but the military back in the day designated them by bullet diameter, charge, and bullet weight. So the 45 Colt was actually 45, 40, 250, or 205. And then 4570, depending on if it was for the carbine or the rifle, was 45, 55, 405, or 45, 70, 405. And the rifle shot the 70. They didn't shoot the rifle rounds through the carbine because they kicked so bad, and soldiers back then only got like 3 or 4 or 5 rounds a year to train on. So they used the lighter loads on that. And then the 1880s, I think it was 84, is when they changed it. They went to the 500 grain bullet with the same charges.
Plowboy said he doesn't think that's his load. That's actually, I found there is a, and I'm sure you know about it, there is a magazine, I can't remember what it is. I've seen the advertisement, a commercial load for the 40 grains of black powder. So, yeah, it's not your load, but you're the first person I saw actually pull it off. And so I call it your load. I'm not going to change. So.
Hey, I'll tell you that load, when you shoot it out of a little Behrman Arms Derringer.
Yeah.
Okay, you can put that load.
Airsoft.
Airsoft.
And that airsoft, yeah.
And it's not Behrman. This is a Grizzly, a Bond Arms. This thing will leave the frame of the camera because that load is quite a handful on this little gun right here.
I'd be kind of scared to shoot that. But
It's fun. It's fun.
yeah.
Smoke.
Yeah, Jeff, I think they got enough, Uberti got enough blowback, no pun intended, on their weak spring. So they stiffened up. The 49 pockets that are coming out now are a lot better. But I do have slick shot nipples, and I'm going to have to shoot the video of putting them in there before I go shoot this thing tomorrow. Because they're sitting in an envelope over on my countertop. But I did get the slick shot nipples is making slick shot nipples for the 49 pockets now. I tried using the ones that were made for the navies. Yeah, they'll screw in there just perfect, but they're too long and they won't allow the hammer to come to full drop, and then that binds it up. But yeah, they got them now. You have to go to Slick Springs website to order them because I don't think the other distributors. There's only 3 distributors: Slick Springs and a couple others. But on Slick Springs, if you go to their website, it pops up. They're there, and I'm going to put them in there and see if that helps without the stronger mainspring. Worst case scenario, like I said, we'll just borrow the spring and the one and swap it into the other and see if we can get through it with that.
Kevin Collier's talking about. He said, "Yeah, he picked up a genuine trapdoor, and that's what he's going to load black powder for." I've done this. I had a trapdoor. What I did was I loaded down to the trapdoor because they are old. Unless you get a really high condition one, they're a little rickety. Because everybody that ever picks that thing up has flipped that door open, and the pins start to wear.
Yeah.
So what I did on mine was I loaded down to the trapdoor with a carbine load of 55 grains instead of 70, and I actually shot 405 grain bullet, and it did pretty well even for full length gun. It was not a hard kicking at all, and it was, I think, a lot kinder to that trap. Unless you get like a really high quality one that hasn't been used, but every original I've seen, everybody ever picked it up went pa-chink, pa-chink, and it's just naturally what you do. And every time you do that, that's the same as another round going down it.
Yep.
And it really wears on that door, so you got to be a little careful with them. I mean, you can probably get away with it. I'm not going to say you can't, but that's what I did personally. I loaded down to the carbine load.
And I don't advocate for this, but there are companies that do make cowboy loads that are considered trapdoor safe, that are smokeless. But I still would be wary of using an original. Those, I would say, are more designed for the modern reproductions. But they do say trapdoor safe. They're under 18,000 PSI, which I think is about the max that even the reproduction sharps will handle. But I would stick with the 55 grain black powder load.
The trouble with them can be that they're cast out of really hard stuff.
Yeah.
And even though you got a lower pressure, you're getting higher velocity. And you can send that older steel, you can send that higher velocity hard cast stuff out of there hard enough to tear up your rifle.
Right.
It's possible. I'm not saying it'll happen, but it is possible.
And I don't remember what the speed of the Black Hills is, but I think it's 1,200.
Yeah, it's not very fast, but it's faster than...
When you start getting up to 1,400 feet per second plus, you want to rethink what you're doing.
Yeah.
There was a question I saw in there.
Unless you're shooting real soft lead.
Load the 40 with the loads.
Yeah. All right. Which one?
Okay. This is Landon Simpson. Says historically loaded 45 Colt, 4440, or 45 Scofield. What
you want me to start on this one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. 45 Scofield is straight out because you can shoot 45 Scofield in a 45 Colt, but you can't do vice versa.
And on my 73, 45 Scofield loads were more accurate than 45 Colt.
And hence why that one got the contract.
Yep.
But he's not talking about the gun. He's talking about the round itself.
Yeah,
today.
The 45 Schofield round was used
as of today.
Yeah. Yeah. And back in the day, they used the 45 Schofield round and the 73s.
Yeah. When we load our 45 Schofield round, it's 3F lines for 28 grains on a 230 grain with a 230 grain bullet.
Yeah. And I think I got 30 grains with a 250 grain bullet. And, that thing I was shooting a group like this offhand at, about 20 paces, give or take. And the 45 Colt was doing about like that. So I was pretty impressed. I should have put it on paper while I was shooting a pumpkin. And it's like after the hole got that big, I just quit seeing the hole grow.
So that brings it down to 45 Colt versus 4440, which I can say from a reloader standpoint,
they're 4440 out the door.
So the problem with reloading 4440 is that's a bottleneck cartridge. Even though it looks tapered,
you've got to
it's really a bottleneck cartridge. So the reason why when you buy the rounds at the store that look tapered, that's because they're designed to be used in either original or reproduction. The reproductions are a little bit more bottleneck than the originals are. So you've got to lube it when you go to resize. You got to resize pretty much every time. And so your brass is going to wear out. So you can't use carbide dies with the 45 Colt. Yeah, you can use carbide dies on them.
You've got to nail 4440 brass.
But I would actually say if I was in the 1870s, I would actually probably go with 4440 because there's a weapon combo.
Yeah,
that would have been pretty awesome.
If you're buying it and then not reloading it.
The Smith & Wesson Model 3 Frontier model and the 1873 Winchester would have been pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Winchester, they never chambered in 45 Colt, but
Nope.
Colt chambered in 4440.
Yep.
And it was Colt's best decision they
Yep.
made. And really, they're not that much different. They're almost the identical cartridge, just a little bit smaller bullet.
The idea was Winchester was using that tapered 4440 to stop some of the black powder fouling.
Yeah.
And
You don't
it
get as
works
much
really well in
blowback.
the rifle. I have an original 73 in 4440,
Which you didn't bring.
which I didn't bring.
And yeah, if you look at like the brass I got at home, like 45 Colt that I shot black powder in 4440, the 45 Colt gets flashback all the way almost back to the rim. The 4440, once it hits that bottleneck, the flashback doesn't burn back further than that.
So I got to ask you, because I've never actually reloaded 4440. I've reloaded bottleneck cartridges. Do you have to trim your 4440 brass?
Eventually, and all mine I've only loaded twice.
Yeah, because
So
I
I'm at the point where I'm going to have to start trimming.
I've got straight wall cases that
Where at 45 Colt, you can just load and load and load.
Yeah.
they don't
For a
really
long
stretch.
You're going to have to
Trim.
anneal them because black powder with that heat, even though they don't have as much pressure,
Yeah,
I'll
hard-
start
it's
splitting
hard.
necks when you're resizing.
Yeah, but with black powder, I've heard guys say anneal every time, especially with like 4570. I've gotten away with annealing once every 3 or 4 loads with my 6.5 Creedmoor. That's what I do is every 3 loads. So yeah, it's actually not that hard to anneal if you don't feel confident in it. Just stick your cases in a little pie tin with water about halfway up and just run a blowtorch over them until they start turning a little bit of color, and it don't take much heat to anneal them. Just don't hang on to them like I did. 300 Win Mag, I was reloading for the boss. I'm sitting there waiting for it to turn color, and the next thing I know, it's flying because I'm burning my fingers.
Yep, I did that too.
Or if you really want to get into it, there's a $600 annealing machine out
Yeah.
there that
That's
does
not
it all for you.
That's not as bad though as we had an old casting pot that had a
Oh.
short in it, and we didn't know it because I always wore my like rubber soled boots when I'm out there, and I'm not grounded. But what we found out was he went to go do it, and he didn't have his shoes on, and he's out there pouring lead, and as soon as he sticks the ladle into the pot, I see him throw the ladle.
It gets you every time.
And he just like, wow! He just throws because it'll shock the living daylights out of you.
Okay, so I hear this, and I'm coming around the corner to see what's going on. Well, Ethan's standing there, and Caleb says,
Well-
it shocked me. And Ethan says, that doesn't shock
I
you.
was like,
So
I've
he
been
reaches
doing it all
in there,
day, and I'm like,
starts ladling out.
no problem.
And Caleb's sitting back there playing airplane, and he's standing next to him, goes, zzz. And about that time, he touched him with his bare feet on the ground, and he's touching that, and I see this chain reaction, and they come out of there because they both got lit up with
I
one
said, I'm
tip.
done. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I figured out why I wasn't getting shocked.
That's why you use bottom board, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. We had some. Personally, I would say if I was going to say, I'm going to go with the 45 Colt just for the power and the. I got to agree with him. If I'm going for a combo in the 1870s, yeah, I'm going to go 4440 because I can load.
Because you can get the Colt
Colt
model.
turns out Frontier in 4440 in the 1880s. So yeah, you can 4440 is more versatile then. Now I go with 45 Colt. If I buy a modern reproduction lever action pistol, I'm going to go 45 Colt because I'm already set up to load for it and it's easy to load for.
Right. Let's see. Jeff Davis is out. We'll see you, Jeff.
Good night, Mr. President.
You know what, Kevin? I've got a 45 Colt. I need to try the Scofield in there. I don't think I've ever shot the Scofield through this one that I can remember.
The actual brass or just the load?
The Scofield, the modern with my my Scofield loads. I don't think I've ever shot.
When
it
you
through
shoot
this
your Scofield, are you just loading Scofield load into a 45 Colt case, or are you shooting actual 45 Scofield brass?
I'm shooting actual 45 Scofield brass because my uncle, he's got a Pieta 1860, and he bought some 45 Colts, but they were a hair too long and they stuck out the front of the cylinder. So I bought him a couple boxes of Scofields. Well, he never used it after that. So I started shooting them out of my 73 single action. And yeah, I should have tried them in this 1860 because like I said, I don't think I ever shot those through this one, but man, through this one, they love that. And the nice thing about the 45 Scofield is you can reload them in the 45 Colt dice. You just got to adjust them.
Same with 38 Smith & Wesson.
Yeah.
You load it in
Plowboy definitely prefers 45 Colt, having 8 guns currently that's so chambered. That's probably why.
I tell you what, if I could find a 45 Colt,
Jeff
the
David's still
same
here.
configuration as his and trade my 4440 straight across, I'd go to 45 Colt just to simplify things. Because, hey, I'll give you a deal. I'll trade you the 2, and then I'll give you the 4440 reloading dies with it.
Trade you to what?
I'll trade you my 4440 and that configuration of your 45 Colt, and I'll give you the reloader for it. And it's the Lyman Ideal tool, so it's a little hand reloader. You reload in the car as you're going down the road.
It's so much easier to use the hand tool than the lead turret, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you're driving down the road, bouncing along in Kansas
So
back roads.
you're getting like a $200 reloading set with the gun and a
Yeah.
trade, so you're coming out on top.
I'll tell you
Now,
what,
I'm
I'll
trying-
trade you straight across this for your sharps.
You throw this in there with it.
That ain't mine. I can't do.
I'm still trying to get Caleb to try the 3rd model Dragoon and the one of the open tops here. I'm actually starting to kind of like this Scofield.
Landon, I don't know how. I haven't put it over chronograph because Caleb killed our chronograph
Nah,
on the
Ethan
4th of
did.
July shit.
Ethan did. I killed it.
But I bet you it's getting that because, like I said, you can, especially in my 45 Colt Derringer, you can feel. I mean, I can shoot a home defense, souped up 45 Colt round through it, and it's not bad. When I put that 40 grain bullet in there with that, or 40 grain cartridge in there with the 250 grain bullet, if I'm filming, that thing will leave frame every time because it's got that much more recoil. So it's got to be producing something like that. I mean, it's pretty potent.
Sounds like it's getting close to 44 mag level.
Well, let's think about it. You're getting 60 grains into, well, if you shoot it the way people shoot now, you can get 60 grains in the Walker. How many grains are the round ball?
In the Walker?
Yeah.
60.
I mean, how many grains do you know the weight of the 44 caliber round ball?
Oh, I used to know this. 143. I think it's 143.
And so I don't know what the math is on that, but with that gun in that configuration with 60 grains, you're getting the same velocity. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but we've done this before. You're getting the same velocity as a snub nose 357. And so I got to say, with a 250 grain bullet and 40 grains of black powder, it's going to be significantly less than that, I would think, because that's 20 grains less. I don't know. It depends on the barrel length and all that too, but I would say it might be 357 Magnum level snub nose, maybe, just because the bullet's so much heavier. That's what I think.
I love the 5-inch Scofield. The 7-inch was too long. So we've actually got, we don't have it out here with us, we've got an actual original 1st generation Smith & Wesson Model 3 Russian. It's the 1st generation of that variant. And somebody has cut that one down to about 4 inches. But they were nice enough to go and put
right
the sight
there.
back on. Yeah, that right
At the end of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
right there. Which I would actually, once we get, because we got to do a lot of work on that one because it doesn't lock up right now at all. And I would actually be kind of curious to see how well that one would come out of a holster, being that short, if we could get it working really good.
Speaking on the Scofield rounds, one of the reasons I was reading on there that they developed the Scofield rounds with a 45 Colt round, there was enough recoil for it to push that far enough back that it would pop it open and drop the
And that's
shells
why,
out.
And yet it doesn't do it today. So they've changed something.
Yeah, something new. I think probably they've improved the locking mechanism.
yeah. And that's like you see other top brakes that came along later, like the Webley, which is an awesome top brake. I should have brought mine, but it has a really heavy duty latching system on top with a really heavy spring.
One thing I tell you what I ain't used to on this that the Colt has is the 3-click. So, and it don't take very far to get to that half cock to load it. I mean, it's right there. So there's the safety, and right there is the half cock. But this is growing on me.
I think to get it open, you could technically pull back on the latch and it would pull it back to a half cock. Does it work?
Oh, when it's
Yeah, and that latch will stop it at half cock.
No,
No,
And it doesn't work?
Yeah, so I think that's what Uberti has done with that. And it may have been true on the originals too, but I've done that to where it will not break open
Yeah.
under recoil.
We got a question here I was looking at. Jeffrey Davis asked, you think you'll ever get a 51 Navy conversion? Don't you have one?
Yeah, I've got one. It's in the room. I'm not going to grab it now.
What's your thoughts?
I like it. The one thing I don't like about it is, and this is a modern reproduction issue, the ejector rod does not line up when it's on half cock when the cylinder's in. So when you line up the cylinder to drop it, the shell out of the gate, the ejector rod won't go down. It's setting up too high. So that's one downfall to it. It's really close tolerances in there, and yeah, it can be a pain until you get used to it. But you know, for shooting, I mean, not much recoil at all, especially with a cowboy load. I mean, very low recoil, it's just like shooting a black powder, even with a smokeless cowboy loads. It's just like shooting a black powder Navy. I mean, there's not a lot of recoil at all. Yeah, and shooting this one with the 45 Colt black powder rounds, it seems like this one doesn't kick as much as the 73, and I think that's probably because this open top, there's more of that gas escaping out. Yeah, the 38 conversion, other than like I said, that alignment when you're ejecting, there's nothing much wrong with them. They're a pleasure to shoot.
You got a flat top version of this somewhere without the groove? Because we got Kevin Collier.
Yeah, the one on the belt there.
Okay. Yeah,
basically they're the
groove
same holster, except that one's made specific for the Colt. That one's made for the Scofield, and that Scofield one will fit both.
Let me see that Scofield. See, Kevin Collier has a point here. He's talking about the reason Scofield's popping open so often might have been the holster not being cut down far enough to keep hitting latch. Yeah, this is a Colt holster. It works for both. This one, and we can't get it in there, but it could.
Let's pull it off the belt.
Yep. It very well could, and we've done this on others. It could.
Oh, I take that back. I did have to modify that in a little bit because
it could hit. It could hit that latch and break it open. But Duke has made the holster that it's very unassuming. You can't tell hardly, but he's rounded that down just right so that it cannot hit that latch. And that's what they probably should have done back then, but I don't know if they historically did it or not.
I've seen holsters with and without that for Schofield.
But that is what makes Duke's holster better.
But the Army holsters for them, they did not make that accommodation. This is the 84 model, and it's designed for both. Pull the Schofield out, and this is going to be a tight fit. So when this one slides in there, yeah, it's going to catch the leather as it goes in. But this is stiff new leather too, so if it was carried in there for a long time, it would fit. But yeah, this one sinks down in there like it should be, and it's a little tight because this is new.
It could push back. Theoretically, it could push that latch back.
And if that gun's on half cock,
yep. And when you pull it out, it's gonna give you an Amos and Theodore.
Yeah. Off the Apple gang.
Yeah. So let's see here.
I heard something.
I don't know if it did or not. Nope, didn't do it. It theoretically could. I agree with you. That's why we like
an idea
like that one. That's why we like that one.
And this will pop open on the safety notch too. Yep. So it just doesn't. It'll lock the cylinder when it goes back.
Yeah. Man, we keep getting more people.
Yeah, we're up to 23 likes. We're averaging about 16 views, but yeah, this has been a pretty successful chat.
Yeah. We got a lot going on here on this table.
I haven't advertised this one yet on the YouTube, I don't think. In fact, I know I haven't. This is a new pattern I come up with. I found this pattern on a leather forum, so it wasn't my pattern, but I did modify it a little bit. Put toe plugs in, threw in some extra rivets. And this, with a little bit slight modification on my end, could fit modern saddles. So if anybody's looking for a dual holster system for a saddle, this will fit. Then this configuration is more for a McClellan style.
Is it historical?
It's historical. Is it accurate? No. During the Civil War, I've seen Civil War ones, and so this is actually the 84 model for the cartridge conversions. But I have seen pictures of Civil War era ones, so they'd be full flaps for the cap and balls. And Yeah, they were dual, but not real common.
So it just slips over your saddle horn and you tighten the buckle?
So it'll slip right over the whole pommel.
Okay, so when your horse gets to going, what keeps it on? You can tie it down?
So that's the thing. With this configuration, as the horse gets to riding, it's going to start growing bat wings and flying off. On the Civil War historical ones, they had a belt strap on the bottom, and the future models will have that as well.
Tie it to your D-rings.
Yeah, so actually what it's going to line up right on the rigging.
Okay.
So right down there where the cinch strap and stuff is, that's about where it's going to line up. You carry them butt forward. You could carry them this way, but then you got to have a breast strap in order to have this to tie into. But it's fully adjustable here. So you can widen it out, you can shorten it up as you need it. This buckle, you can widen it up and shorten it down. There's people asking again.
Sarsparillas. It's the president is asking.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, these are designed for McClellans, but I can easily modify it to modern saddles. In fact, I got a more modern saddle tree I'm gonna try to do. And if you got one that's got a real wide swell on that pommel, I could probably get that fixed there too. But I'm gonna have to play around and see how it fits on other holster or other saddles.
Greg Duke's got a refrigerator full of this stuff.
Yeah, like I said at work, you're giving away because it's outdated. But yeah, so that one's a birch beer. It's a little bit different. I kind of like them, but they didn't have much of that left.
Good.
Why don't you just bring a 4-pack out, Caleb?
All right, dude.
Oh, and save your bottle caps too. I collect those.
Okay.
All right, dude.
I was gonna shoot
Tell us
these,
your
but
thoughts on
somebody
this
said
pistol.
don't shoot glass on the range.
Yeah, we're not shooting. If I had a private range, it wouldn't bother me. But we're going to be shooting on BLM public land, so no glass.
Let's hear your
Alex
thoughts on
Lee
this
needs a
little pistol.
horse. So do I.
Well, this is kind of the definition of a muff gun. And despite, it sounded bad, that's what they were called back in the day because the ladies wore on their thing for putting their hands in a muff. And so small guns like this would be commonly referred to as muff guns. And I know that can, have a really bad interpretation nowadays. But I think this is great for when you need to give something to the grandkids to keep them occupied.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I'll tell you from shooting that thing, that is actually one of the funnest little pistols you'll ever shoot. But it's kind of like a BBN. Like it's fun. Like
Oh, it'll
shooting a
go
BBN.
into.
Right.
It'll go into. We put it up against. He had the audacity to put that thing up against the 49 pocket model. And I've been giving him a hard time ever since because 49 pocket model will go through 4 milk jugs.
Well, the 49 pocket
And if you
models-
put in Mark Hubbs's conical and the right amount of powder, you can go through 8 jugs. And that thing gets about halfway through 1 jug.
Well, I was going to say, I think if you throw it hard enough, you might.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be shot with a 22 short, but at the same time,
Yeah, I could see where this would be a rat gun if you're up close.
Yep.
But like I said, I'd file that front sight off so when you piss the rat off, it hurt so bad when he shows up your rear end. Yeah, I mean, and then I dropped the hammer. About pinched my finger too.
it attacked you.
I like this. If this was in like 32 caliber, I think this would be comparable to the pocket model, but it's perfect size for my niece actually.
That has actually served as a Christmas ornament on a Christmas tree.
it works really well for that.
Yep.
You set it up next to a 4570 cartridge, and
It's about the same size.
One thing I noticed on there, it doesn't have a safety notch or a half cock
Nope.
notch. It's just
it's all
full
there.
cock or not.
They sold a lot of them things, though.
But yeah, I don't like the tip up design for reloading it. I would prefer.
Can you imagine how many of those little cylinders are on Civil War battlefields? Because there's a lot of them were bought just for that reason.
So, it locks from the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm like, where's the bolt?
Yeah.
A plowboy,
That was patented.
That's plated brass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what that nickel or silver?
Nickel.
Plated.
and it's actually mostly still there. Spider.
Yeah.
Plowboy is talking about pommel holsters he got with his 59 Repro McClellan back in '98. Never used them. Okay, on that McClellan, Plowboy, how thick were your stirrup leathers? I see this, and I'm talking to him about this. Some of them are really thin. Some of them
they're
are.
not very much. They're
What you got? Like 1.5 2 inches stirrup leather?
you're less than 2 inches.
Of course, none of them weigh as much as I do. I get it. When I stand in the stirrup, I don't want to fall.
Yeah, no, the McClellan saddle was not designed for the comfort of the rider. It was designed for the comfort of the horse. Yeah, the McClellan, George B. McClellan designed it. Some say it's based off the English saddle, but if you watch the 11th Ohio Volunteer Cavalry channel, they just had a video on it, and it's actually based off the Texas saddle. They basically changed the pommel, and you've got the exact same thing. But yeah, the early day ones, the Civil War ones, they were just a rawhide tree with very minimal leather. There was a leather fender to protect the rider's legs. Then you had the stirrup leather, and that was it. In 74, to give a little more comfort, they wrapped it in leather. The whole tree didn't really add that much comfort. But the McClellan was used clear up until 1943 was the last year that was used.
I think that in that saddle, you would spend more time standing in those stirrups.
There's a reason it was called the ball pitcher.
Yeah, and I think you would stand in those stirrups a lot
It's
more.
more friendly to lady riders than it is male riders. And I don't mean to be, dirty or nasty, but that's the truth of it. But yeah, they're not. And one of the guys I work with there at the fort, he did living history clear back in the 70s when he was a lot younger, and he talked about him and a buddy went on a ride from Fort Laramie to Casper, Wyoming. And he said before they'd even got 10 miles, they'd taken their greatcoats off of the front of the saddle and had them padded underneath too, because their butts were sore within 10 miles.
Who's your favorite Old West lawman, outlaw, gambler, and what have you, and why?
I'd have to say Jack Hayes, Captain Jack Hayes for lawman. For outlaw, I don't know. I don't know if I could pick one. I guess I gotta say Jesse James, but I'm gonna be a little biased because I'm related to him and Frank. It's a little bias on the Jesse James, but Jack Hayes, those Texas Ranger boys in the 1840s, they were no nonsense. It was, if you were outlaw, you die.
Yeah. What do you think, Caleb?
I have to go with him.
You like that?
Uh-huh. What do you go next? I'm still thinking on the lawman.
Well, he stole Jesse James. So I'm going to have to go. I would say Jesse James or Frank. I know Ethan. I'm not going to steal Ethan's. I know what his is.
I mean, there's another reason I
know
really
what
like the Scofield.
I know what his is going to be. I'm not going to steal it. So I'm going to go with Kingfisher down in Texas. Anybody that goes to the circus and kills a leopard or a lion and makes shafts out of that's quite the outlaw. And some people argue whether he's an outlaw or not. I like Bat Masterson.
Yeah.
I like Luke Short. I don't know. Best lawman. Most of the lawmen were Yankees. I'm gonna go with Bat Masterson for that one.
And then there's a not lawman guy, Yellowstone Vic Kelly. He's kind of an interesting guy. He was guide, scout, buffalo hunter, wolf hunter, this hunter, that hunter.
I got it. Gus McCrae.
There you go.
That's my favorite lawman.
For fictional lawman.
Well, once again, Jesse got stolen away from me. But I can go with Coleman Younger.
How did I know?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Younger.
I like Coleman Younger. There's actually an audio book you can listen to on YouTube of his accounts of what all happened, and according to him, he was never
there.
He was never involved in anything.
He didn't do
Only met
anything.
Jesse James one time.
Jesse blamed him for everything.
Nobody knew about poor little old Coleman Younger until Jesse James went and wrote a letter to the newspaper and said that him and Coleman Younger.
Wow, Jesse practically picked him up and carried him to Northfield, Minnesota, tied him up, left him in the street.
But in all reality, I think the real Coleman Younger had a lot more common sense than a lot of the James Younger gang. As far as the lawman goes, it's kind of the opposite of. You've already taken Bat Masterson and could I go with what is it? Old Bigfoot Wallace?
He's a lawman.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I take that one.
Yeah, Bigfoot Wallace. Yeah, he was
That's
Texas Ranger. He was actually a mountaineer, mountain man trapper before he went to Texas. But yeah,
Actually,
Bigfoot Wallace was there with a lot of the boys that was riding with Jack Hayes.
I take that back. There's actually one I like even more than that. Jan Garrison, a.k.a. Jeremiah Johnson.
No,
Because he was a lawman before he died.
yeah, that's true. Liver eating Johnson. Yep.
Landon Simpson says, "What do you think about Killer Miller and Wesley Harden?" Oh man, I could take Harden better than I could take Miller because Miller kind of a hypocrite about it. Deacon Miller, I mean, he really played that Christian side of his life up, and then he was back shooting people. Whereas Harden, he might claim he back shot a lot more people than he did, probably.
Right. And Harden made the claim that he bullied down Wild Bill Hickok, which I don't think that happened.
Sounded good when he wasn't there.
Yeah, the Kevin Collier says Bass Reeves for lawman.
Yeah, I forgot about Bass Reeves. He was one hell of a lawman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely put him up high on that list. I need to find some more books and stuff on him because he's a really interesting character.
Oh, Landon's tempting. I think. What about your outlaw for being bloody? We're not going to do that again. We decided we're not going into that conversation.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You see, we're from Kansas. We wish we were from Missouri. And that's all the further I'm going with that one. There's a couple good songs on YouTube. Look them up. But Plowboy's got a good one. It says outlaw, maybe Clay Allison shooting up a town drunk and naked. Pretty sure he was a distant relative. Seriously. Clay Allison's crazy. Nobody gets discharged from the military because he's enjoys killing too much, but he did. They thought he was psychopathic. And in the Civil War especially, who gets discharged from the military for being psychopathic?
Right.
So that dude had something going on.
I mean, Bloody Bill didn't.
Yeah, Bloody Bill didn't get discharged. Yeah, they might have tried.
They got discharged at.
Yeah.
His head got discharged, but there you go.
That's really good.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. What is that?
So yeah, that's a Mexican loop style that I made.
It actually goes clear to the end.
No, it's made for more like for a 5.5. It fits a 4 3/4. The problem with 5.5 is this pinches down so tight I'd have to
Is
weld
that one for sale too?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take that one home, then we won't have to worry about the fast
I'll have
order.
to pull it off Etsy. The only problem with this one is Bings, there's not really, and I tried to put more of a swell here, is that when you pull it,
It's gonna have to be tight.
this one, actually this one might not do it. The prototype before this one, when you go to pull it out, it'd come out of the loops before the gun come out.
You
But
probably use a little leather contact cement to fix that.
and actually what I was going to do is punch 2 holes there and then put a tie down on it.
That's if we get that, it's gonna have to keep that gun on in a Longhorn Stampede, so it needs to be tight. It ain't coming out. That's I think we better take that off.
Good thing I had my hand under it. Yeah, I think I designed this one. I think I enlarged it out a little bit because the other body design on that was a little tight. You couldn't get it to come out.
We're not on Landon. We're not on the 11bangbang channel right now. We are on Duke Fraser Productions, and so we may go into that on our channel, but we don't want to get Duke demonetized for forever.
I could tell you the history. I could tell you the history behind it, but
Be intrigued and just wait. One of these days
we'll talk about it.
Let's just say Bloody Bill was a good Missouri guerrilla. And he was good at what he did.
He was very good at his job, but
Not that
maybe
it
a little
was
too good.
wasn't really condoned by the Confederate States Army.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why the Missouri guerrillas were considered an outlaw group by the South after Lawrence, Kansas.
But let's not forget Osceola, Missouri.
Okay. But I gotta share
We're not going into this. We're not going into this.
So when I was in high school looking to get into colleges, I was looking at Fort Hays State University and a couple others, and Lawrence, Kansas, which also had the program that I was wanting to get into, but I figured it was too far away from home to get. They kept hounding me. They really wanted me to come to their school. And on the last day they called me, I told them, I said, I don't think I'd be appreciated in Lawrence because last time my family was there, they didn't do very good things. And the woman on the phone said, oh, well, who was that? And I said, it was Frank and Jesse James, and they burned the town to the ground. I never got a call after that.
You know.
But yeah,
We'll just say this. Everything that was done, including Lawrence, is in response to something that was done before.
Yep.
And maybe they got a lot more carried away at Lawrence than they did at Osceola, but they were there and going. It's hard to stop when you're going.
The general store?
Anderson's sisters or
Anderson's
sisters? Josephine. It was actually both of theirs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And, yeah. Anyhow,
there was a lot of deaths in the family, a lot of people killed and hung in Missouri, and
there was atrocities on both sides. Just put it that way.
And personally, I'm Confederate in Missouri, so that's just how far I'm going to go with that. There's another one. That one actually fits even better.
It's left-handed though.
No, that doesn't work.
I thought you were.
Well, that means you gotta go buy another one.
Yeah.
No, this one actually, a guy, he ordered. I made one for him just like this, only right-handed, and then he ordered this one left-handed, and this was the second holster I ever made for sale, and he never got back to me. And yeah, it's been sitting. I haven't sold it yet. It's on Etsy, I think, but Etsy's not been selling a lot lately. I like how they went from being scattered across the table to the
Now
piles.
they're
All
all right, I got something for the people on the camera. I want to see who's the first one can tell me what this cartridge is.
Ethan already told him.
Oh, did you already?
All the lacquer on.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing it pretty soon.
And no, it's not 44 Sharps bottlenecks.
And it's not 4570. So see who can figure out what that is.
Although it looks close to 4575, but it's too long.
Yeah, there's actually a Buffalo round that is the equivalent of this.
It kind of looks like a smaller 577 Martini.
It does. Except I think they got a little bit more pronounced.
And that one holds
They got a
75
cone.
grains of powder.
They got a more pronounced cone towards the back.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good Buffalo cartridge.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it is, but there is an equivalent.
But yeah.
Yep. Kevin Collier, you're the winner.
Yep. Yeah, first one to comment. But
Forrest.
yeah, when you're looking at the Buffalo hunting days, everybody thinks like the 4570, 4590. It's actually one of the most popular rounds was the 4477 Sharps bottleneck, followed by the 45-110, and then into the 5070, the big 50 Sharps. But there were those in the early days that were using the old 56 Spencers, because the 5650 Spencer, everybody thinks that's a 56 caliber. No, Spencer did things backwards. It's 56 grains on top of a 50 or below a 50 caliber bullet. The 56 was a 56 caliber. But there was some guys that were using that to bring down buffalo. Yeah, you get the job done at 100 yards, but your buffalo kind of get scared out at 100 yards too. So they want a little more distance. That's when they started getting out 300-400 yards with bullets closer to like this. But the whole idea that they were shooting buffalo at 1,000 yards, you know how many steps a buffalo could take at 1,000 yards with a slow-moving 50 caliber? You could go from having a good kill shot to hitting him in the butt.
I saw Quigley. He took this rifle, and this guy rode this horse really fast, and he counted to like 37. And he didn't even have to. I mean, he just threw some dirt in the wind. That round is so accurate, he didn't have to even take time. Offhand. And so I think you're wrong about that.
Well, for one, the actual rifle he was shooting when he did that was a 44-77 Sharps bottle. The bucket was actually at 300 yards, and yes, Tom Selleck did shoot that bucket.
You think that bucket actually moved like that, or when he shot that? Because that bucket flies up in the air. And
yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, from what I understand, he was shooting live rounds, and he actually hit that bucket.
Looked like that horse went a lot more than 300 yards.
Yeah, so technically it's supposed to be like a 700-yard shot.
Mm-hmm.
But when they was filming it, he was a little bit closer because hitting it at 700 yards offhand.
Even if you had that, I don't think you could.
That's why
up to 1,000 yards to make that work.
At the Quigley shoot up in Montana, when they have, I think it's one of the last stations you do. It's actually 300 yard. It's a silhouette of a bucket. You have to hit it offhand. All the rest of the stations you can do prone or sitting, but that one you have to do offhand.
Plowboy, we could talk about that one too.
Who's your favorite Confederate general?
Stonewall Jackson.
Yep.
Oh, there's a lot of good ones.
I'm a firm believer if Stonewall had to die at Chancellorsville, Gettysburg would have turned a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer that he was that much better than Lee, that Lee needed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Papa was going with Forrest. Was McCulloch a general or just a
McClellan?
Benjamin McCulloch?
Oh,
Just a-
no, he was a Ranger.
no, the other McCulloch brother.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, he
Captain
was.
McCulloch was the Ranger. I gotta say,
The other one was a general.
I do like him, but I don't know enough about him.
Because he
to say
was
he's
the
my
one that
favorite.
Coleman. He was the one that Coleman younger was under, had been taken under to go to Louisiana to go catch cotton thieves.
I'd say Longstreet.
I like Longstreet.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, Longstreet was good too. But
I
guess-
guess he became my favorite in Gods and Generals.
I guess in Stonewall and Forest are
Oh.
taken up.
Gettysburg, that was the one.
Gettysburg, yeah, not Gods and Generals. Sorry.
Stonewall
Yeah.
and Forest are taken up. Let's see here.
I
probably
wish-
say Jeb.
I wish Tom Berenger would have reprised that role in Gods and Generals, but
That beard
Yeah.
was amazing.
yeah. And then Stephen
Lang.
Yeah,
Lang.
Yeah.
He did Jackson, whereas in Gettysburg he was Pickett. That I don't remember who they got for Pickett in Gods and Generals, but yeah, I liked him. as
Squid,
Stone.
pick an officer if you want. Go ahead. He just won't know if he can pick an officer. You like him better as Jackson, I'm taking it, than you liked him as
Yeah.
I enjoyed him in both roles, but I think he played Jackson better.
Yeah.
Boy, Jackson to the T.
And what's
That's
interesting,
the
or
tear jerker.
what's cool is I was watching. There was a video somewhere here on YouTube. The reenactors that were filming that posted up there, and he actually came down when they was getting ready for that Manassas shoot. And, he went down, signed autographs, shook hands with all the reenactors that showed up there and gave them a little speech and recited some of the lines to them. And it was awesome. Robert Duvall, he's kind of more private individual. He didn't really go out and do that. But, yeah, Stephen Lang, that was cool seeing him go out and do that and meet with them.
He sold me on that. Because I thought
Yeah.
after seeing Gettysburg, when I was like, well, wait, Pickett's going to be Jackson? And then he sold that so well.
Yeah.
And especially that death scene. That death scene was, gives you chills.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
See you,
It's
Kevin.
a good movie.
So, I might have asked Bob with this before, but you're talking about old Forrest there. There's actually one of the best documentaries I've heard on Forrest is actually by a preacher. It's actually a sermon.
Oh,
By G. Pete?
Yeah, Jeep Pete.
John Weaver.
John Weaver. Yeah, he also does one with Jesse James, real good. But he tells a story on that about no man kills me and lives.
right.
That is an awesome story.
I'll tell you, 36 won't kill Nathan Bedford
So
Forrest.
my favorite Confederate officer, non-general, is John Singleton Mosby, because that guy, he was basically a guerrilla like the Missouri guerrillas, but with a little less of the dishonorable things. He pulled off some major things. And if you've never read about him, he's cool. He actually kidnapped a Yankee general, went behind enemy lines and captured this guy, and they were so afraid that he was going to capture Lincoln. It's like they maxed up the troops in
How does that go?
Washington.
Wake up. Who is it? Mosby. Oh, you caught him? No, he caught you.
No, he smacks the guy on the butt. Supposedly when they say that, smacks the guy on his butt, and he wakes up. What's going on? What are you thinking? He's like, sir, have you heard of Mosby? Yeah, have you caught him? And no, he's caught you. But yeah, to pull that off, that was. And then he kept the Yankees. Kept their heads spinning up there in Northern Virginia.
That's a good one, Squid.
Have you ever heard that story about no man kills me and lives?
Nathan Bedford Forrest.
I hadn't heard that
It's
one.
pretty
Okay,
wild.
so
Well,
There
we'll
was-
probably know if it's true or not.
there was a young lieutenant. I can't remember his name, but he was a artillery lieutenant under Forrest,
Right.
and he got overran, and he ended up losing some artillery pieces. And he was wanting to go back and get them from the Union, take a bunch of men with him, whatever. And he was throwing a fit because Forrest told him he wasn't going to let him go because that was going to get a lot of guys killed over that deal. And he was throwing a fit about it. And finally, Forrest invites him over to dinner with him. And not really a word said, just sitting there eating dinner with Forrest's family because his family was there, I guess. They kind of traveled with him. And finally, he throws a temper tantrum about it, and he's like, "You better let me go and go get those artillery pieces and restore my honor or whatever." And Forrest looks at him and he's like, "No, I'm not going to let you go. Matter of fact, I'm going to transfer you out of my unit because you're being disrespectful." So this young lieutenant pulls out a 36 Navy and shoots Forrest in the gut and takes off running. Well, Forrest gets up and proceeds to walk out of the tent with a 36 caliber ball in his gut, and the doctor outside says, "Well, you're going to die. There's no way you're going to survive this." So in a few lesser words, old Nathan Bedford Forrest gets up on his horse, pulls out his dragoon, and says, "No man kills me and lives." And he goes and finds this lieutenant down the street on the little bar they had set up. This kid is terrified. He goes, he chases him into the bar. The kid goes to jump out the window, shoots him with the dragoon as he's going out the window with that 44. And they go and they take that kid, the young lieutenant, and they're like, "Yeah, he's going to die." And another doctor looks at Forrest, and he says, "Well, you're not actually going to die. You're going to survive this." And like, "You want us to cut this out?" And his exact words were something to the lines of, "It's just a little old 36. It don't weigh nothing." So he actually had that kid because he felt bad because he thought that kid had killed him. He felt bad about it, and when he was in the hospital, he made sure their beds were side by side together, and I guess he forgave him or something. It's a pretty cool story.
Sounds like a Western tale. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah. But you know what they say, when the fact becomes legend,
Print the legend. Exactly. Bye, Mom. We still got a lot of people in this chat. Plowboy said it happened in Columbia, Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right, Plowboy, I'm taking your word for it.
It's one of my favorite Civil War stories.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Happened in Columbia, Tennessee. Did you reenact that, Plowboy?
I could see that's how I imagine as Forrest.
I could just hear Plowboy saying that too. Well, nobody kills me and lives.
Well, I'll fill in the pieces one day. Oh, that'll be good. Let's hear your rendition of it.
Yeah, mine was rather rough, but it was the gist of it.
Part of it. Now we're all interested. Well, now we know what your next truck tailgate video is going to be.
Yeah, I'm ready.
What is by far your favorite gun?
Oh boy, they have to ask.
We should split
It
this
don't
up.
have to be a handgun, I don't imagine.
Split it up. Your favorite rifle, shotgun, and pistol.
Okay.
Makes it a little easier.
Ever or personally owned?
It just says, "What's your favorite by far?"
Oh,
I guess that'd be ever.
can't beat a good 1911 for a handgun. Even though I don't own one, I've shot quite a few, and I really love 1911. I need to buy one. It's actually the next gun on the list. Rifle, I really like the 66 Winchester, followed closely by the Henry. I just love that, that yellow brass, how it looks.
Well, you can buy a modern Henry.
Yeah, I
Get that
could,
yellow brass.
but I think I'd spend the money and get a Birdie because it's about $400 cheaper, which ain't saying much. They're both over $1,000. And shotgun, I cannot pass over my TriStar. I know it's El Cheapo, but that gun has killed a lot of ducks, quite a few geese. It's got me a couple turkey. I really like that shotgun.
Is it my turn?
Yeah,
M1 Grand, PO8 Luger, and Auto 5.
Didn't take him long.
It did not take him long at all. Tell us why, Kel. Tell us about what you think about the M1 Grand.
How it's an outdated piece of equipment that nobody should own anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That's quickly become Duke's favorite.
That's this Scofield, but really, the new model number 3, I would take that over the Scofield, but
I would
is growing
too.
on me.
Yep.
Just because I've handled the new model number 3, and when I pick it up, it's just like when I grip a Colt. It's right there. My eyes are on the sights. With this one, when I grip it, for whatever reason, when I grip it, the sights are a little bit off. I got to kind of dip the nose down a bit.
So what do you have, Ethan? It's probably gonna be black and plastic, whatever it is.
Well, technically, I gotta throw one more in there for my. I like the Charlottesville, even though it's not a rifle.
Oh, do we get
It's not
pick
a
our favorite
shotgun.
flintlock too?
And it's not a pistol, but I'm throwing that one in there as an extra. I like the Charlottesville, probably my favorite musket. Rifles, probably have to go with. I don't know. There are a lot of them. I'd probably have to go with a more modern, or if I was going to go with a more modern one, probably go with an AK or a. Yeah, go with an AK. And then as far as pistols go, favorites Smith & Wesson Model 29.
Now I'm gonna go off my normal base because my favorites change from week to week. I'm gonna say that right now my favorite pistol is probably the Ruger Vaquero or Blackhawk. Not just for the history of it. I know I go with the repo for that, but they're just so well built and the sights are so readable, especially on the Blackhawk. Rifle is probably always going to be my sporterized 1917 Enfield and 30-06. That's my best hitting rifle. And shotgun, man, I don't know. My favorite is definitely
Your Widowmaker?
that's tough because I do have the Winchester 1911 and I like it, but I don't think it's my favorite. I think
Charging handles are nice.
Yeah.
my Winchester 97 is my favorite, followed closely coming these days by Mossberg 500. Yeah, they've grown on me here lately.
Yeah, Mossberg makes it really good.
That ambidextrous safety
Yeah.
is really awesome because I shoot long guns left-handed.
Yeah, you have to understand he's backwards.
And so
He's
but
wrong-handed.
I'm not going to step away from my 97 because my safety is the hammer, and that's ambidextrous too. So, but yeah.
I guess I didn't say a shotgun. For shotguns, it would be a kind of a tie between the Tobin double barrel because it's so well balanced and the Sega 12 because you can unload a lot of
black
hate.
and plastic.
You can unload a lot of hate with an AK chambered in 12 gauge shotgun shells.
I'd have to say my second favorite shotgun would be a Mossberg.
Yeah.
Because I really, on that Shockwave, I
Shockwave.
really love that Mossberg action.
Yeah. I kind of like the Cruiser. I like the short barrel Mossbergs. I thought I wouldn't, but like I said, once I figured out that grip that everybody's talking about on how to shoot these instead of trying to shoot from the hip all the time,
Right.
I really do enjoy the short, compact. I know a lot of people that we even like on YouTube really knock anything that's got a pistol grip on a shotgun, but
Yeah.
it has its disadvantages. But
The military did it for a reason. The military, like every single shotgun you see with infantry guys, like I'd say about 95% of them are pistol grip pump shotguns.
and the J.C. Higgins Model 12 is one of the Model 20 in 12 gauge is one of the cheapest all around good shotguns. I got a wall full of shotguns, and so I guess if I want to shoot a pistol grip shotgun, it doesn't bother me. It's
Right.
not the main go-to, but I can enjoy it a lot.
Well, the one nice thing about that Mossberg action is like on my semi-auto, the one downside to that is the way that lifter is filled. When I'm loading it, sometimes my thumb will get caught in there and that lifter, and I mean, it will give you a good pinch when you're not paying attention. With that Mossberg, they load in smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Auto 5s, you don't have much problems.
Yeah, but we all have Auto 5 dreams, but not Auto 5.
No, I shot an Auto 5. And I think, because that's the one that's in Red Dead, right?
Yep, they're a slick shotgun. I like them.
The one I fired had a hell of a lot of kick because that's the one where the
Barrel
barrel's
roll.
coming back.
Besides
Yeah,
There's a way to mitigate it.
Yeah.
it kicks as much as my single shot Harrington and Richardson, and that sucker kicks hard.
That's what we
Well,
do.
you might not have your ring set right.
Yeah, you
On
probably
the-
had the
On
ring
the
set
Auto 5,
backwards.
there's
Oh,
what they
that
call a
was-
brass friction ring.
Somebody else's.
Yeah,
gun. We
and
just
you
flick
probably
around.
shot a heavier load
with the light breath.
with the light setting because there's a
Yeah.
friction ring in there, and if you turn it backwards, the way it works is it grabs the tube as the barrel recoils.
Uh-huh.
It slows
And so
it
with
down.
heavier loads, you turn that backwards, so it grabs the tube harder.
Okay.
With a lighter load, you
But
put
yeah,
it
if you
down.
do that backwards, it can break. It kicks so hard it can break the stock.
Yeah, I just remember when I shot that, I was like, holy crap, I thought this was a 12 gauge. And it was a 12 gauge. And it felt like a 10 gauge. And I fired an 8 gauge. I fired a 4-bore.
You fired a 4-bore?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
Oh, boy, you better get a good grip on that gun when it goes off. I leaned into it, and it about rolled me on my butt. But
was it a muzzleloader or cartridge?
no, it was a big elephant gun.
Really?
Yeah, but the guy had loaded it black powder and loaded it extra light because I don't know what the weight of that slug was, but it is not a small load.
Could be like half pound. Yeah, I know.
Big chunk of lead. And the 8 gauge I fired was with a 36-inch barrel. Trying to swing that thing on a clay pigeon is like, you pretty much do the Arnold goes,
Exactly.
it up. It's like, holy crap. Which was nice, the weight kind of mitigated the kick, but it still would roll you good. But yeah, that 4-bore was a 18-inch barrel. Oh, God, it had a big smoke cloud come out the front of that.
There's a big question here. I'll cover shoddy. Landon Simpson wants to know, what do we all think? How did Johnny Ringo die? And Squibb, of course, answered immediately with Val Kilmer shot him. But I don't think that's
Reality, he killed himself.
You got that's the thing. He's found with his gun belt on upside down, no shoes, miles from his horse.
Yeah.
He's drunk, like a big binge drink right before, like for a week solid. People see him like just hanging around drinking. I think what happened was he had a headache that he couldn't take.
He had a lot of things going on with him.
I don't think Doc Holliday could have done it because when he died, Doc Holliday was in Colorado and couldn't even get out of bed.
I thought Doc Holliday died before he did.
That might be even. I just know that it's. I don't think. I think he was still alive, but he was. It could be. I could be wrong.
So when it comes down to the two movies, Tombstone and Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner, I ain't a big fan of Kevin Costner. The historical accuracy on Kevin Costner's movie was good, except for the thing that really got me is Kevin Costner's wearing a Buscadero rig. 1920s, yeah, Wyatt Earp might have wore one of those, but he wasn't wearing one at the OK Corral.
It didn't have Val Kilmer in it.
Right. Was it Dennis or Randy Quaid?
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job as Doc Holliday, and I think Val Kilmer did a good job. If you could have mixed the both together, you would have had the perfect Doc Holliday. And Kurt Russell, Wyatt Earp, I thought he was all right there as well. I think Costner pulled off. Wyatt
Kurt
Earp
Russell played him
better.
a little too clean, I thought.
Yeah, and Sam Elliott as the brothers, they was doing more kind of like the Glory Day B-roll Western, which it was good. There was some good historical accuracy on both sides, but Tombstone was more of a entertainment movie. There's a reason why it's only a couple hours, and Wyatt Earp was like 3. But yeah, the whole Buscadero, that's what really turned me off on Kevin Costner's version. And with Costner's version, you get the full story from when he's a teenage kid all the way up until, he's an old man going to Alaska.
But if you ask me right now, we're going to sit down and watch one of these two, and we'll watch Tombstone because it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, it is.
You can get more into the characters, I feel like. But
And I did like, what's his name? Played Curly Bill in Tombstone. Powers Booth. I did like Powers Booth character better than the other kid they had playing Curly Bill, and I don't even remember what his name was. But
at the end of the day, Tombstone's more memorable.
It is.
I think. I mean, I remember scenes from Wyatt Earp, but I remember Tombstone.
Yeah.
Playboy was saying something on there.
But no, when Wyatt killed Curly Bill, neither movie really got it right.
Yeah, it was Hollywood.
Yeah, they pretty much ambushed him. Not Curly Bill ambushing Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp pretty much ambushed Curly Bill.
So are you going to that one, Plowboy? To the big funeral?
Being reburied. Forrest is being reburied in Columbia. I missed that one. It was ways up
Huh.
there. Tennessee next month. Big funeral plan.
I had heard that.
Man, we done took a trip the opposite
Yeah.
direction.
Told us a day late.
Oh, that's
They late
okay.
and $1 short, boys.
Plowboy, live stream that.
Yeah.
And monetize it. Yeah, I'll see how far that goes.
Yeah, no kidding.
I believe Pat killed the kid. I think so.
You know, there was the whole, what was it, Curly Bill Roberts? Or no, Bill
Brushy
Roberts.
Bill.
Brushy Bill Roberts. Yeah, not Curly Bill. Jesus, I'm thinking Tombstone again.
The next day over.
Yeah, Brushy Bill, you know, he claims he was a kid. I don't know, but from what I understand is when they exhumed Billy the Kid's grave, there wasn't Billy the Kid in it. Supposedly where his grave was at.
But they also supposedly moved him.
This is true, too.
So it's...
But there's a lot of misconceptions. Everybody thought Billy the Kid was left-handed, too, until you realized that
The
old
picture
tintype
was
photos,
backwards.
got to flip them around.
It's like the Jesse James deal. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Pat Garrett was a killer. There was no joke about it. Pat Garrett was killed.
Yeah.
Because he was a killer.
Not
And-
Mr. President.
You know, they used to be, you know, they were friends at one point, but
There's
yeah,
photo evidence of that now.
I have no doubt that Pat Garrett shot him.
Yeah,
Whether he died or not, if he hadn't died, I think Billy the Kid was so much into his fame that he would have made it well known that he was not dead.
here's the thing with Brushy Bill. Brushy Bill has a birth certificate, and his name is Bill Roberts, and he's a full 20 years younger than Billy the Kid should be.
Yeah.
And it's been gone over and over and over and over and over again, and it's just there's just too much evidence stacked against him. He claimed to be way too many people. I think he claimed to be Sunset or the Sundown Kid at one point. He's pretty crazy.
The
And
Sundance Kid.
Sundown, what's
Yeah.
the Sundown? Thinking of a different show. But yeah, he was way too young to be Billy the Kid, I think.
And yeah, when are they going to do Young Guns 3 now? They're filming that, I heard, with Brushy Bill Roberts as main character.
They're getting Lou. Hello. Yeah, man.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips did that. We're getting late.
I don't know if he'll be in that or not, but yeah, I guess Emilio Estevez is on there, and you know he is as young as he was in that movie. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I think it's
Is
more
Doc still alive?
I don't know. Doc Skurlock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he played in 24.
This ain't the
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer, yeah.
Yeah, he's still around.
Is he?
Yeah, in fact, he did a real good Western a few years ago with his dad.
Donald Sutherland?
What is it? Not Unforgiven. It's Forsaken. Forsaken is the name of it. That's a really good Western. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. Yeah, it's really good because he's in there and they have this one final gunfight scene, and not to give any spoilers, but he's got a LeMat and he's like, I got a LeMat. I'm at a disadvantage to your Colt. Can I go in and get a Colt?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
it's a great movie, and the guy that plays the gunfighter he's going against in that scene, you know, he plays a lot of bad guys. He plays one of the guys in Seraphim Falls. Is the last one to get killed before Liam Neeson and him had the big showdown. But I can't think of that actor's name. But yeah,
Doc can't come back. He died in Young Guns too.
this is true.
I think they
So did Lou Diamond
I
Phillips.
completely forgot about that.
Yeah, they all died.
Oh. Well, maybe it's a
Yeah.
prequel because it's gonna be kind of hard to forget me.
Because Arkansas Dave Redebaugh goes down to Mexico and gets his head knocked off, and
Unless they're all really still alive, like Brushy Bill.
yeah. Lou Diamond Phillips gets
Big
killed
conspiracy.
and dies in a graveyard or something like that.
And even the little kid gets killed.
the young boy, the Prince of Pistoliers.
Yeah, you're right. Doc died. What are we? Like he said, they all died. This is going to be an interesting take.
I think it's going to be one of those. Let's see how old these actors got.
It's going to be
That's
one of
mostly
those.
what's
It's going to
wrong.
be. Let's go see Butch and Sundance in Bolivia. That's
It's
gonna
like
be
what
it's
Tom
gonna be.
Selleck said about the Magnum PI reboot. He'd do it if it wasn't just showing how people got old, and when they found out it was showing how people got old. You see, they didn't make that remake.
Oh man, you got to give it to Clint Eastwood. He's still going.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood's still going. And his son, I wish his son would do some more westerns because he reminds me very much of Clint. Looks like him, sounds like him.
Thanks for movie suggestion. Is Forsaken 2015.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Plowboy said, I don't know how they're going to pull off Young Guns 3, but as long as there's hosses and six guns, I'll watch it at least once. That's no joke because people who like guns don't ever watch Young Guns on slow motion or especially in them scenes where they're flipping them out the side and they're rolling them around and they're shooting so fast with all these they're double actions, don't get me wrong, but that's a little bit
well, that's what Billy the Kid used.
Yeah,
lightning.
Yeah.
But they're shooting like Smith & Wesson Model 13s and
Right.
10s. You know,
but I don't think they should call it Young Guns 3. I think they should call it Not So Young Guns.
Squib said it's going to be called Old Guns 1. Oh, that's funny. Old gun 1.
Old gun. Yes, gun.
Because it's just going to be Brushy Bill, and they're not even going to have to put makeup on him this time. He's just going to be Brushy Bill. I wonder if his voice still sounds. I never could be sold on Brushy Bill's voice.
I watched some things with, or what was it, 2.5 Men, where Emilio Estevez was in that, and his voice has changed.
Yeah,
and that was quite a few years ago that happened, so I imagine it's changed even more. But
Old Gun 1. Let's get on change.org and start a petition. It's Old Gun 1. Yeah.
I tell you what, though, for a comeback movie, I think the Deadwood movie, that was a good comeback and bring closure to the series. I don't know if you guys ever watched Deadwood.
I haven't seen the movie, no.
Oh, you ever watched the TV show?
I know that.
It's not something you're going to want to watch in front of your kids. You might not even want to watch it in front of your wives. Because, it's pretty foul-mouthed.
Mm-hmm.
And not just profanity, it's plain vulgarity.
They're getting carried away now. The old, the slow, and the tired.
I like that one.
Wasn't that Clint Eastwood who was talking about they were wanting to make a new Dirty Harry movie or something? He's like, well,
what am I going to do? Chase him down the road with my walker? I was like, are you talking about the handgun? Because I can see something here. I really can.
A walker and a
What
walker.
was that new Santa Claus movie where they had a walker there? Fat Man, yeah.
We kind of
parodied
that for our Sega 12 video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never did watch that movie, but I thought, I'll watch it when it's free on Amazon. But
Bob Willard, new bad words in Deadwood.
I've told the story probably 1,000 times now, but yeah, when I got to college, there were some of my friends called me Al, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I watched Deadwood, and it's like, now I understand.
Yeah, that guy died a not very nice death.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. Ian McShane played the SOB that he really was in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the movie, he dies of, liver cirrhosis from drinking himself to death. In reality, the real Al Swearingen died in the Denver stockyards without a dime to his name.
What do you mean, Squibload? He said make a walker holster for his walkers.
Yeah.
Oh, a walker.
Yeah,
okay, got you. Gotcha. I'm a little slow.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
I still can picture. Okay, that's what he said. Chasing down the road with his walker.
We're
Josie Wales.
2 sodas in here.
Josie Wales in a suit and tie in San Francisco, running down the road with a walker, chasing the bad guys.
I reckon
Scorpio.
So.
Scorpio can come back or whatever that guy
Chop
is.
down Arasaka. Oh, Percussion
Oh
model.
man, I can't believe they did that.
I was reading a magazine article on that. That was a 100 prototype rifle. It was a
Was there some
Arasaka.
Scorpio head?
It was an Arasaka paratrooper, and they sporterized it. And
For the
drilled,
movie?
and drilled holes. They only made 100 of them. It's like a $20,000 rifle.
I had a
You
chance
live
to
in
buy
there?
Arasaka in Rapid
Reddit.
City, and it was sporterized, but it still had the full-length barrel. And I was looking at it, and usually on an Arasaka, the chrysanthemum is ground off. Because the Japanese, before they would surrender it, as one of the terms is that they had time to grind off the chrysanthemums. because it's a symbol of Japanese government. You know, they didn't want to surrender that. So I find this rifle with a chrysanthemum intact, and I find out that it was actually worth a lot more, even sporterized, than what they were, because they only sell it for like $120.
Yep. We've
I
got
should have bought it. I could have restored it and it'd been worth a lot more. But yeah, that was, for other than being sporterized, it was almost pristine.
we
have
talking about
one
that
like
chrysanthemum deal.
Yeah, right on the receiver.
We got
We have one.
that last ditch. It's
Yeah.
like that too.
I
It's
still
a
got it.
it's
So
a pretty
that-
rare deal. It really is.
When you find the chrysanthemum, that's not surrendered at the end of the war. That is a war bring back.
Yeah.
It was captured during the conflict.
it's either a war bringback or the that last ditch rifle
Right.
was actually somehow ended up in North Korea and was marked as a North Korea training rifle.
Ha!
So
Could be a Korea war bring back.
yeah, could be.
Landon Simpson's bringing the questions tonight.
My Type 53 Mosin Nagant is a Korea war bring back.
Oh, there you go. He's got one for us. For those who have played Red Dead Redemption 2, that's everybody at this table
Yeah.
except Caleb.
Yeah. They have auto fives.
How do you feel about how inaccurate the guns are, especially the stats, like how weak the Colt single action army is, and how it should be the most powerful of the handguns? Yeah,
You know what?
Handle.
They, for a video game, I think they pulled off the accuracy pretty decent on most.
Mhm.
The handguns were one of the things that, you know, they were a little bit off on. But you got to remember the Cattleman, the Colt single action, that's the first gun you get in the game. Usually when you're in games, the first gun you get's not the best. They get better as you go along. That being said, you know, the Scofield, I really like the Scofield. That's my go-to revolver in the game. I like prefer it over, you know, the high power and the Mauser because they just burn ammo and don't do that much.
Yeah.
I haven't played too much with the Lamette. Now for rifles, my favorite Red Dead is Evans, and that one they got that down. But you have to, when you're loading that, you got to run that action every time you're dropping a bullet in. So that detail they got really good. And they got most of the details on the long guns down all right, except for rifling and a shotgun. That's not accurate at that time period anyway. But yeah, the handguns, you know, I can't give them too much diss on that because they're pretty close.
Yeah, I didn't hardly ever mess with the handguns. I usually just get the auto 5 and do like the old Doom game, rip and tear.
That's where we get into it. Okay. First of all, on the handguns, I'm not a gamer, but I've been playing video games since NES. I still have an NES, the 1985 NES. I still play it. I got everything, you know. I stopped there about PlayStation 2, and then I picked back up because of Red Dead. But the thing is, you have to stack the game to keep people interested, and you have to start with something a little low power. You're not going to start with one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: they start you off with the Cattleman because everybody who's playing the game is going to recognize that revolver.
Yep, that's right.
And so that's why they start you there. Ergo, it has to be the least powerful. I mean, because you got to stack after that. Otherwise, if you start with the most powerful gun, you're never going to look around for anything else. So you start with that gun, and to be honest, I found it more of a challenge just to keep that gun. They were laughing at me just actually a few hours ago because I'm on my 4th playthrough. My loadout is still the Auto 5, the Litchfield.
Yeah, they changed the name.
I'm still
Weird.
using
yeah.
that one, and the my pistol is still the Cattleman, but I got it in a brass frame, completely. You know, I got it completely engraved.
You're trying to make it look like a Griswold gun.
Everything is engraved. But it looks more like a Spiller and Burke. It's got a top stack. But that's my, and I'm on my 4th round through, and that's the Auto 5 just breaks the game.
The one thing that I found annoying with Auto 5 is like throughout the game, all the lever action, the pump action shotgun, you fire it and then you gotta hit the trigger to cycle a new round and hit the trigger again. So when I get to the Auto 5, I'm like used to doing that, so I'm actually wasting ammo.
You're double tapping.
Boom, 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 boom.
He's talking about the historical accuracy of it, and that's where I gotta disagree. I love, because you gotta remember this game's already getting to be 4 or 5 years old now, and you know, they've come a long ways even since then. But with what they had, even at that time, they did really well with the animations. Of course, the reloading is way too fast. Everybody gets that, but nobody's gonna buy the game if you have to actually reload. But as far as the Auto 5, it's in 1899 for most of the story. The only Auto 5s that would have been out would have been like John Browning prototypes.
Right.
So it could have existed technically, but definitely not in every basement and every forest. You know, it's not something you're going to be running around with at the time. So historically accurate, maybe not, but I do love it.
And the Lamat, I think they kind of got, because if I remember right, you loaded like a cartridge gun.
I haven't played
it.
I haven't played online since they had it. You gotta get online to get that added.
There is
the Lamat is in the base game.
Is it? I never even came.
Yeah,
Probably 'cause I had the Auto 5.
You gotta go to Mexico to go get it.
No, that's in the original.
Oh, okay.
So when you get past a certain level in the main story, you can buy it. You can only buy it in Saint Denis. And then the other one they put in at the same time was the Evans. You could get the Evans repeater, which, you know, that gun is awesome in the game. Mostly because you can shoot it 22 times, and I'm not such a good shot. If you get that
And you suck like
diabetes.
Eat your oatmeal.
Funny thing about that Evans repeater, if I remember right, the real one was somebody else helped make that one, some Horace Smith.
Yeah.
He helped out on that.
The
And the
1873
Evans
is kind of in the game, but it's just not called the 1873.
No,
It's just
it's
called the
the-
Springfield.
Litchfield.
Springfield.
Oh,
the
the
seven-
the 73 Springfield is just a Springfield.
Yeah.
Then you got the Litchfield, and then what the hell's the other one?
The one with the large loop is not
No.
Litchfield. It's I can't remember.
One's a copy of the Henry, and one's a copy of the 66 and or 73 Winchester.
The thing is, it's the way they've got it set up. After you've played it so much, I literally get my base guns that I like, and I don't even look for it. I get the guns from all the gunfighters, of course,
Right.
and then I trick them out, and I don't ever use them. But
The let's see, you can get the semi-auto shotgun up at that one cabin with the crazy old lady in it.
it's in the
And then if you
basement.
kill the old lady, then the brothers or sons come after you. Then you get the which one is you get in the basement of the Gunsmith and Rhodes. It's one of the two.
The broom handle, I think.
No, that's
No,
that
it's
comes
a
off
rifle.
a
It's one of
trailer.
those action rifles. Yeah. And then you get the double action. Of course, you get the double barrel shotgun and the 5-point cabin. I think that's what it is. 5-point.
Where you get the C96 at?
That's on a train.
Well, no, that you can get it before that.
That's the gunfighter.
That's the gunfighter trophy on the train, but you can get it before that. Most of them become available at some
Yeah,
point during the
because
game.
you can actually get 2 of the broom handles before you can buy them in the store. Angelo Bronte's got one, and then that gunfighter has the other one.
Yeah.
Then once I just like the Scofielding game. I'll be honest, I'm a Schofield junkie in the game.
Once you get your favorite gun, I mean, they are stacked to an extent, but once you figure it out, you can get your favorite guns. You can go through that whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through the whole game with a cattleman. It just takes a lot more bullets.
Yeah, my top used guns are the Auto 5, the Litchfield and or Evans, and then the Schofield.
I'm surprised you Birdie didn't get after them.
Actually, I based them off Birdie guns, so I
Yeah.
imagine they got a little bit of a payoff because Birdie. Well,
The Litchfield and the Lancaster.
Lancaster. That's
what
the other
somebody
one.
said, yeah.
But Birdie sells these when you buy them straight from Birdie. They're the cattlemen. That kind of gives you an idea of where they got the name for that in the game. This is actually Cimarron, but mine is a cattleman. And Springfield, Springfield rifles, but where they got Litchfield and Lancaster, don't ask me.
Don't they have?
No, that's the names in the other game too.
Don't they have the Crag in that too?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the bolt
That's
action.
the one I'm always using. Is the
Yeah.
Crag.
Well, no, they have the Mauser in two.
No, it's
the
the
Carcano.
The Carcano,
They have
yeah.
the Carcano,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's and they have that in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's a sniper.
You get that on the island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Squibload's what was it he was saying about?
Somebody said there's a Red Dead Revolver movie, and like a Red Dead Revolver, not. Like that Red Dead Revolver? Like the original? That'd be interesting.
Squiblo picked up an Arisaka for.
But I firmly believe that the character of Uncle is Red Harlow.
You think your uncle's Red
Yeah.
Harlow?
Yep.
You think Red Harlow came down with the terminal lumbago?
Yep.
I think he was playing it off pretty good.
Squiblo, he picked up an Arisaka for his son this summer. He's wanting to know if you can fit a bayonet in a stocking. Well, let me ask you this.
How long
Are
of
we
a sock do you have?
Are we talking about hip waders stockings here? Because
And are we talking about Carcano or Arisaka bayonet that's like
yeah,
that?
it's like a short sword.
Yeah, I've
It
got
is a
one.
sword.
I've got one, and yeah,
They come in a sheet though.
Well, what's funny is like all them bayonets like that back in that day and age were like that in the what was it, the 1907 pattern bayonet for the Lee Enfield was so long that we were listening to a song about it that when the Anzacs took Beersheba and they put the infantry on horses and they sent them in charging machine guns with bayonets as swords, and they took Beersheba with bayonets.
Well, they were kind of thirsty.
They were about to thirst to death. That's
Yeah.
what you call a long bayonet.
the Japanese, they had basically a bayonet. With like
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
There's the Arisaka bayonet.
Yeah.
Available at Duke Fraser Productions.
.com, capital D, capital F,
Capital P.
capital P. Get that right.
They're gonna have people asking for their Arisaka bayonets.
Yeah, no kidding. And then the British had a big sword bayonet for
Yeah, that's what the Anzacs had.
We got
Yeah.
one, and I would actually I got to get my horse riding skills back up to par, but I would actually like to do put a pumpkin out on it, some sort of post or something, and try that swinging with that bayonet and a Webley.
I would
Gotta
get,
have a Webley
get
too.
a fake horse on the back of a trailer in case you hit the horse.
Yeah, need to get old. Never met a gun I didn't like. Fellow Kansas guy.
Yeah, he does some
Yes.
jousting.
Yeah, he's doing some lancing.
Man, yeah, you can really see the cream.
It's funny how powerful the volcano. Okay, I'll give you that, Landon.
Yeah,
How
we were talking
powerful
about that
is a
earlier.
volcanic pistol? When in real life, it's underpowered. Take the most
Yeah,
powerful handgun.
that's
the
not
cowboy
my
make
favorite
movies.
gun in Red Dead. I did it in Red Dead Redemption, the first one, but the second one I don't.
It was a
care for very
novelty.
Yeah, that was another Smith & Wesson design that didn't turn out very well. It's
How
kind
many
of like a
feet
Model
per-
1.
How
much.
many
Yeah,
feet per
Smith & Wesson
second?
actually started out,
With the
making
volcano.
lever actions that Winchester took over, and then they
Yeah.
went the other way.
Winchester never made a gun. He made shirts.
No, he was actually just the main financial backer for it, and then he kind of just his name took over the company. Because Benjamin Tyler Henry, the Henry rifle was not produced by. It was invented and designed by Benjamin Tyler Henry, but it was produced by Winchester from Winchester backing. What would become Winchester Arms.
Of
I'm
course,
not sure what they was calling it though when Henry was producing it.
that was the volcanic
Fan.
firearm. No, it was volcanic repeat.
I
It
thought
was-
Volcanic was out before they started in on the.
It was
Oh,
actually
you mean
called.
like when Winchester, the New Haven?
No, like when in the Civil War, when the Henry rifle come out, what company it was under at that time? If it was
I want to say New Haven.
It was the New Haven.
New Haven Arms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because then it become Winchester Arms by
New
66.
Haven Arms. Yeah.
And what's funny, once in a while you come across an original. It's not very often, but you'll find them that's got the King loading gate in them. They started off practicing with that loading gate very early,
Mhm.
or I should say very late on the Henrys before they went to the 66.
Here's what you do, Squib. Go to your local farm or tire shop and get you a 8770 John Deere inner tube and sew the end up
Yeah.
and hang it from the outside of your house on the chimney. And you could put a lot of ammo in there and bayonets, and it'll just stretch. And, that'd take a lot to break one of those.
And then the
you can put whatever
kid,
you wanted.
I can tell you one thing on this sword, holding it right there. He's actually used this decoration piece right there.
5 years.
Yeah.
It bites.
Yeah.
Just grabbing it like that, it bites into the thumb.
it's not very often a butterfly bites you in the thumb.
Yeah, it is a butterfly down there.
What do y'all think about Merwin and Holbert revolvers?
Oh God,
Better than the Scofield?
I wish they would have actually made the production, the reproductions, because there was a company that was going to do it, and they took a bunch of money and then never did it, and I guess they never paid the people back that invested into it. But I wish they would have got it made. I would bought one.
Here's what they did. They took the reliability, what we were talking about earlier. They took the reliability of the Colt and the future versatility of the Scofield and put it together because it's a lot simpler, a lot more reliable than the Scofield, and yet a lot faster to reload than the Colt.
And what most people don't know is that on the Smith & Wesson, when they went to the flop-out cylinders, that was actually Winchester's design. Because that's where the gentleman's agreement that Colt wouldn't produce lever-action rifles and Winchester would not produce revolvers. So Winchester gave the design to Smith & Wesson from what I've seen.
Didn't they come out with the Smith & Wesson once that opened, like the barrel twisted sideways?
That
was a prototype.
Yes,
that was a
inner tube
prototype.
stockings. You heard it here first.
That's the Merwin Holber.
Yeah, they came out with. I mean, they didn't come out with it, but they made.
That was an intermediate.
Okay, maybe
It's
I'm
actually
wrong
a
here, but
small
I was under the impression anyway that the first swing out cylinder was the naval Colt, the first patented swing out cylinder.
When was that?
81 to 89, somewhere in there.
I don't remember that one.
That would be.
I
I was just reading this the other night.
think that it's a Navy 30 and the
Elmer
Navy
Keith talks
38.
about it in Six Guns. And I was
Okay.
just reading it the other
Navy
night.
Colt Navy versus
And you're
Colt.
But you look at
Landon Colt Navy. It's got a steel frame.
you look at a Winchester, the revolver they was prototyping to release,
Yeah,
and it looks just like that 357. That you
Yep.
got in there.
Well,
it's
that's
probably right. I'm
Same
probably
that,
right.
that 357 is actually a hand eject model that's
Good night.
basically been beefed up to 357 Magnum specs.
Colt Navy versus Griswold. I say Navy because it's got a steel frame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though I love the Griswold, and we have one on our channel.
You know what? I'm
Yeah,
just
no.
gonna go against the flow. Griswold.
And the grip,
Grips for it.
the grip, yeah, Griswold grips are, they look like they'd be more comfortable to shoot. But the thing about the Griswold is they weren't using good steel; they were using cheaper iron, and they got away with that because it's a 36. Because if you look at some of the original Griswold designs, you can see the twist in the steel. They twisted it to give it a little extra strength, or I shouldn't say steel, the iron. They twisted them to give it a little extra strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to take the Colt because they're built to a little higher tolerances.
Yeah.
With regards to what the metal can do.
In reality, they wanted a Colt anyway.
That's
That was the best they could do to copy it.
Oh heck, I just noticed it's got damage on there too.
It's been in a war, dude. What?
It almost looks like somebody put
Glue and glued it back in.
yeah. It looks like it's wood filler.
Probably where it got shot with 30-06.
Yeah,
There's
that's
your,
where your nick came from.
there's
in
your
the blade.
there's your
Yeah,
gas
but
show.
it's too far.
They were pulling it out when it happened.
Yeah.
I
I noticed they tapered that down, so I think somebody was really whacking into something hard with that because there's kind of more dings in there than I really noticed. But
Where's this bamboo?
Still
I didn't
good.
see that.
The bamboo design.
Oh, it's just a
on the-
design
right there, yeah.
on
Bamboo.
the saucer.
actually,
saucer
maybe
guide.
it's not. Yeah, it is upside down, so they put this on upside down. Oh, it's got dragonflies on it too.
Yeah.
Really fancy. That's a
Butterflies.
solid copper piece.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize these things were so front heavy. This is,
It may not. It may just be that one too. It may just be decorative.
but yeah, this does not have the, what do they call that, silk wrapping on the handle.
I have no clue.
I can't remember. Whoever out there knows what the name of the silk wrapping is, chime in there because I can't remember it.
We better get ready to shut her down. We're losing people. What do you say? Go to 11.
Yeah, let's give it another 15. Oh well, we're at 2:42. Let's go to 3 hours even, so it'll be 10 after 11.
Okay. Sounds good.
Unless it really dies off, then we'll shut her down early.
Poor Plowboy if he's still with us.
Yeah,
But usually he starts showing up about this time
No.
You still out there, Plowboy?
or later. I'm surprised Dustin didn't pipe in there, but Dustin might be.
Are you on East
On the
Coast
road.
time on that? You're in Northwest Alabama, so you should be Central time, shouldn't you? If you're out
No,
there.
he's
Eastern.
Pacific, yeah.
Okay.
Or Pacific, yeah, Eastern.
Yeah.
Duh. Yeah, when did the Pacific get to Alabama?
how did that work out?
That's
for
my kind of geography right there.
Man, California slid off and took a lot with it.
Hey, but if you live near the Rocky Mountains, you've got oceanfront property
Oceanfront property in Arizona. How's it look, Santee, over there?
I've seen Santee tonight.
Yeah.
So Landon asked about canister, regular, or mortar shot. So
You'll have to ask the cannon guy.
There's 4 types of ammunition for the cannon. So there's solid shot, which, out here on the plains with the mountain howitzers, they didn't use solid shot. That's more for going against fortifications. So that was rare that it was used in the West. So that leaves you with shell, which is the same size ball, but it's hollowed out and filled with black powder so that when it'll explode, and it's basically a great big 9.5 pound hand grenade. That had the longest range with a short barrel mountain howitzer like what we shoot out here at Fort Laramie. It had a max range of 1,005 yards. If you put it into a regular howitzer or a Napoleon, you could get it out to a mile. Then you had spherical case, which was about the same size shell but thinner walled, and it was filled with either 44 or 69 caliber musket balls to give it added shrapnel. So that's when they start getting in, because max range on that's about 800 yards, so 800 and less. And then you had canister, which at 300 yards. And so in the caisson, I don't remember exactly how many. There's 16 rounds total, 2 of which are canister. The reason they only had 2 canister rounds is because the first canister rounds when the true enemy is at 300 yards and closing. The second one, if you fire that off, if they're still coming, you run the vent pick down in there and you break it off in so that the enemy can't use, and you get the heck out of dodge because you ain't gonna have time to limber it up. So of those 3, spherical case or shell and spherical case are both going to have psychological as well as physical wounding, because when you see those things puffing up in the air, the troops are going to start getting demoralized pretty quick. And then canister, that is a devastating round. I think it was Gettysburg Pickett's Charge. Mm-hmm. They talk about those guys when they fired canister rounds, and I don't remember if they were using howitzers or Napoleons, but the line turning into pink mist because there's a 144 69 caliber musket ball. So that's like
so
an
how
entire
does that
regiment
work?
Firing off.
When does the canister start coming apart?
Right as it leaves the muzzle.
Right as it okay.
Because it's like a tin can.
Okay.
You have a piece of sheet metal wrapped around.
It's a shot cut then.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's got a piece of sheet tin disc that covers the front. And when that thing goes off, that wooden sabot is designed to kind of start pushing that shot through that canister as it's coming through. So by the time it leaves the muzzle, it's spreading out. And at 300 yards, it could be 100 to 150 yard wide shot pattern.
That's insane.
It's devastating. So yeah, you going up against canister, I wouldn't want to be in infantry marching up against a cannon. No way in heck. The one plus side to that is with the bronze tubes, especially, they start getting really hot as they reload or as they're reloading them and shooting them off. So they're not going to be shooting super fast because the one problem you can have is once you fire 3 or 4 rounds in that tube, you can really have a danger of having cook-off rounds, which is going to kill whoever's ramming that cartridge down, could damage the gun itself. And then there was the issue back in the day of the Borman fuse, which is a pewter fuse in the front, or lead or pewter fuse in the front of that spherical case or the shell. They didn't always pack those full of gunpowder, so it might be, you might set it for like 3.5 seconds to reach out to 900 yards, I think is what 3.5 seconds does. If that's not completely packed and filled, it's going to actually go off a lot shorter. It could go off as soon as it leaves the muzzle and it kills the whole cannon crew. Whoa. I wouldn't want to be an artilleryman, and I wouldn't want to be an infantryman going up against an artillery either way. And if I was going to be an artilleryman, I'm going to be gunner, or I'm going to be number 3 pulling the lanyard. I'm not going to be out in front, especially on the rammer. That's probably the most dangerous, especially when you're firing multiple rounds, because if there's a spark in there, or if that tube's so hot that it'll cook it off, as soon as you seat that thing down, that thing goes off, your ramrod's gone down range and your arm's still attached to it. And in fact, they was doing wasn't on the Park Service part, but a few years ago, it may have been more than a few, they were doing a rapid fire with blanks. and this kid was in the front, and he goes to ram the blank charge down, and they had a spark in the tube, and it goes off, and you can see his arm still holding onto the ramrod going down range, and the kid did die. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be an artilleryman if I could get out of it.
You don't want to get run over by that recoiling tag either.
No, and that's funny. Like the Napoleon guns and the big regular howitzers, when you fire them, you know, they roll back maybe that far. That freaking 12-pound mountain howitzer, there's a picture, one of the guys that he actually does the training here, because they don't send me to training. I get trained by the people that were sent to do the training. When he went to do the training years ago, there was the only crew using a mountain howitzer. And at the end of the thing, they would fire, back in the day, they'd fire live rounds because they're on a military installation where they're doing this so they can use live ammo. They fire that, and the safety officer says, stop. Everybody stay in place. They take a picture. You see the 4 cannoneers in their post. There's no cannon. The cannon had rolled back 10 yards from the recoil. Those mountain howitzers just go boom, and they're all the way back. Then you got to roll them out and do it again. So I guess that's one thing. If I was going to be artillery, I'd be on that, because by the time you roll it back up, the barrel's going to be cooling down. Yeah, the barrel's going to be cooling out.
So who gets the job of cleaning that thing every time?
Yeah, after it's done.
I mean, like on a black powder revolver, we get in there, we know, with a Q-tip and clean every nook and cranny.
Right. So when we fire off, we have kids come down. Being it's bronze, it's not going to corrode nearly as bad as like with steel or iron. But we get kids to come down. We use hot water and rags. We got a worm. Really, we should use the sponge with a sheepskin sponge on there, but that rots off pretty fast if you use it, so we don't. We just get the gun worm, wrap a bunch of rags around it, and we just swab it until it comes out. You know, there's no more black coming out of the tube. But yeah, we use hot soapy water, cleans out just fine. I imagine at the end of the season it'll get a more extensive cleaning. But the nice thing about our howitzers is they've got on the vents, they've actually got a copper insert. So we've got enough copper inserts to shoot those guns for another 50 years and not have to swap out too many. So that touch hole, once it gets so big that the primer don't sit in there tight anymore, we'll swap it out.
But something like that for a 51 maybe.
Yeah. What was funny is like when I was down at Bent's, you know, when we cleaned out that touch hole, we used one of those, what do they call them? The straw cleaners,
For a baby bottle now?
Yeah, they use in arts and crafts now.
Yeah.
That's
Pipe
what
cleaner.
we used to pipe cleaner. Well, that's what we used to clean that. And I was looking at the guy that does the artillery program here. He has a freaking wood screw glued to the end of a handle, and he just sits there and scrubs, so you see copper filings on it. So it gets a little bit more eroded every time we use it, but we swap the cannons out. We've got 2 where I work at, and we swap them out every week. We'll shoot one, then we'll swap them out, shoot the other. And the one we've been firing recently, I like it because there's no sight system set up on it. It's an earlier style tube where the sight would be a separate piece. Nice thing about that is when you go to prick the bag, you go straight down. On the other one that's got the sights on it, it's angled, so it's actually a pain to get in there and prick that bag because that sight stands up in the back, and it's hard to get it in there. And with that one, when we fire it, there's enough back pressure coming up that vent hole that when you pull that lanyard, it actually comes back with force. I've had it give me a nice little bruise on the end of my elbow. It whacked me on the butt one day. And the last time I fired it, I actually caught the little wire that comes through that friction primer. I was sitting there and I felt something hit my fingers, and I looked down and it had stuck in between my fingers. And I thought, man, that could have been a lot worse. It could have went in one of my fingers. So I've got 2 of those wires stuck in my kepi that I keep.
Quib said it's already Tuesday in the Eastern time zone, and that's the only time zone that matters. I agree with you.
That settles the question.
Anytime anything happens on the news, I got to do the math.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're about to shut it down anyway, though. You got any more questions?
Yeah, well, we're up to 28. Man, that's the most likes we've had in a while. I've had on a long time on here.
Well, everybody was missing you. I ain't seen you in a month.
Yeah, no kidding. I've just been so daggone busy, and they've been bouncing me around at work between early and late shifts. And then they're going to bounce me around on days off here pretty soon, too. Yeah, I think in like 2 weeks, I go to Friday, Saturday off.
Landon, man, he really wants us to get into some controversy.
45 ACP or Colt versus 9mm. The Colt round can be the historical load. Either 45, I think, is better than 9mm because I've heard so many horror stories about 9mm from police officers that I don't trust. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's better than 32 ACP. It's better than that little bitty Smith and Wesson. Yeah, I definitely take the 45. You know, fat and slow is better than small and fast.
There was actually, and this could be something that came along later, but there was actually a lot of talk about in World War I that they said 9mm was for executing deserters and 45 was for killing the enemy.
Yeah, there you go.
I got to give you the 9mm come a long way since the war.
Yes,
But at the same time, the best 9mm, and you'll always hear people say, well, 9mm now can do what 45 Colt can do. Yes, but you take, even though they're hard to find now, Black Talon 45 Colt, it's apples to oranges. I mean, 9mm can do what base 45 can do, but you can extend that 45 out. But at the same time, I have a hard time with it. I used to always say 45. I do like 45. I'll probably still say 45, but 9mm.
I will say I carry a 9mm for the simple fact that I can shoot that handgun well.
Right.
I can shoot it quickly, and I can carry a lot of ammo.
But yeah, 45 ACP. I'm gonna stick with it. I carry every day 45 Colt, but I don't live in a place where I have to worry about a lot of people either.
Right. And I when I took my concealed handgun carry class, they got into the caliber thing, and the guy said, we're going to just prove that one caliber is better than the other. He put a picture on the web of ballistics gel with 45 Colt all the way down to 9mm and a bunch of other oddballs, and the only thing that beat all of them was 357 mag outperforms all of the common semi-auto handguns. But 45 ACP, 40 Smith & Wesson, 9mm, and 357 SIG on the gel blocks and the part where they first hit the expansion cavity, just about the exact same on all of them. And all of them are going to go through the target anyway. So penetration, they all of them have about the same penetration.
It's all about that temporary cavity.
It's all about shot placement, really.
What about the 32?
You shoot anybody in the chest with any of those calibers, they're going down.
That's what a lot of people think the military trains, the whole 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. That's not really, I mean, yeah, that's the Mozambique drill.
Right.
But what they really train is 1 in the chest, 2 in the pelvis, because if you can take out the pelvis, they will not be able to stand up anymore.
But
right.
Of all those you just mentioned, I got to say, I believe from a hunting, I've run all these rounds pretty extensively, and just as hunting as an experience, as a situation, there's nothing out of all the guns you mentioned just now, nothing puts the candle out like 357.
Yeah.
And I guess the trouble is you
Except for 44 Magnum.
he didn't mention that.
Yeah.
So
I was going
it's
like
not really
357 beat the other one.
Yeah,
so
at the
44
same time,
beat that.
at what point is it practical to carry?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can still carry a 5-shot 357 airweight
And
revolver.
that's the case with like a lot of police forces back in the day actually switched to 357 Magnum and then switched back to 38 Special because nobody could qualify with 357 Magnum because the recoil was too much.
Well, if the size wasn't an issue, everybody would be carrying a Magnum Research Conan and 357 or 44 Magnum, but in reality,
You need something you can shoot well.
you need something you can shoot well and something that you can carry every day. And I carry, of course, my Duke holsters a lot, but when I'm traveling or something, I literally carry, and I'm not saying this is what you should do, I carry this 2-shot 45 410 Derringer because I don't, it doesn't bother me to carry it. It's not hard to conceal. There's things you got to think about. We had to come through Colorado. There's things like that you have to think about,
Yeah.
And so personally, 40, it's not necessarily the round so much as the gun for me.
And yeah, that's like the reason why I carry the 9mm idea. Yeah, fuck it. The reason I carry
This is going to beat all of them.
Yep.
This ain't practical to carry.
But the reason I carry that 9mm is because I feel like out of all the handguns I got, if push came to shove and I had to make a quick shot and make a very well placed shot under stress, that would be the one I could shoot
Right.
with.
He's narrowing you down now. Best 9mm versus 45 Colt historical. I have 45 Colt.
Yeah,
all day
45
long.
Colt's
Yeah.
gonna be it. Yeah.
Yeah, bag of just lead bullets.
And see,
Absolutely.
this one's practical to carry.
But it's not practical.
It ain't bigger than a mouse.
Yeah.
Good luck. You might kill a rabbit if you're point blank.
Well, that's what Mark Twain said. He tried to take one of those rabbit hunting, but like I said, or like he said, you gotta aim 9 feet low.
Absolutely. We got about a minute to go here.
All right. Yeah. Any last minute questions, comments, concerns? Get them in there.
We just got 2 more people in too. Papa,
Yeah.
would you come back?
Yeah.
Oh, it bounces around. I think it's people's internet, and I also think
Yeah,
it's privacy
yeah.
settings. They always don't show up on it.
Yeah. I will say that a modern revolver and 45 Colt, if you could get it small enough, would be. And I know they make them, but they're a 6-shot's pretty big.
Really, 45 ACP almost.
Yeah.
It performs almost the same as 45 Colt with a black powder load. So, you already got your better concealment option there.
Yeah, that's true.
But 1911, the problem with them, the only way you're really going to conceal it is if you're carrying in the back or if you're carrying in a shoulder holster. I don't like carrying the front appendix carry because I don't like pointing a Glock at my but
Carrying directly in the back is hard to conceal too.
yeah, unless you're
Even with
wearing
a
a
shirt.
big baggy coat in wintertime.
Yeah.
And personally, I don't bother with concealed carry in the summertime, but in the wintertime, that'll be why I'm going to get my permit when I get back to Colorado, because when you put on a heavy coat, you're pretty much concealed carry.
In the wintertime, you'll see him conceal carrying his walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody that commented on one of my Walker videos, and he says, I'm having a hard time, with my my Walker printing with concealed carry. How do I alleviate that? And I said, get a bigger horse.
Exactly.
Wear a teepee wherever you go.
Yeah.
And we got one more. I guess we'll give you one more before we quit. Fixed blade or pocket knife? Pocket knife for me.
Fixed blade.
For what I do,
don't have mine.
pocket knife box cutter because it's so much easier. than
I
sharpening.
wind up doing one of them too. Yeah. I carry one of
I
those a
pull out
lot.
my Zweihander right here, but
Where did that kukri get to? Oh, it
I
wound
think we
up on
knocked
the
it
floor
on the
too.
floor a long time ago.
K-bar.
I think it went with the Dragoon. I kind of like this one too. I didn't think it was practical, but actually this is actually better at chopping than with an axe. I can control it a little bit easier.
Would you carry it every day though?
In my car.
On his horse.
Actually, this ain't that heavy. This is pretty light, but it's
My wife is still hanging in there. I'm proud of you. It's
Still hanging on.
midnight 12 where she's at.
she's probably wondering, why haven't you gone to bed?
We still haven't even checked into the hotel.
Oh boy, I hope you guys got a room.
Yeah.
I hope you made a reservation.
We did. We got till 3 a.m.
But yeah,
Still
I
hanging
usually,
on. I'm proud of you, huh?
there for a long time, I carried a DeWalt, one of just DeWalt or pocket knife folding
Excellent.
blade.
Carry.
And then I
If you're
went,
cutting bayonet, you can't beat it.
yeah, and
Or
then
string.
I went to carrying a box cutter a lot because you swap out the blades, and that's what I use a lot when I'm doing leather work. I've gone to the folding box cutters, but my favorite folding box cutter, and thing is, I need to clean up because it's still got fish guts from when I took it fishing last time. DeWalt makes a folding box cutter, but it's got the retractable blade, so it's a little extra safety on it. I really like that. And the nice thing about it too is the way it's set up is if you do that retractable blade, it actually has a twine cutter built into it, so you don't have to have the blade out, and you can still cut twine with it. Which
That
is really
twine
nice
cutter
about
hangs
it.
you up on net, though.
Yeah,
You
when
ever notice that?
with net, you just kind of just do your best you can.
You wear zippers, not buttons on your coat.
But the one nice thing about net is it's easier to gather up off a bale than twine is, because with twine you wind up with big old wadded knot.
Yeah. Don't forget to water the blueberries in the morning.
Don't forget about Ethan's pumpkins.
Don't forget to water all the plants. That's 5-gallon buckets of water. You're still hanging on. And then go visit the neighbors. Water the garden and the pumpkins. You don't have to mow the yard till I get back. Hey, here's your mom.
Yeah, I think it's just family now commenting on that. All right. Well, I think it's about time to. Oh, we got up to 30 likes. Yeah, I think it's about time to shut it down. We're right over 3 hours, so this has been an awesome chat.
That's a lot of fun.
I'm glad the boys got up here, and then tomorrow we're gonna get out and film. So I better make sure I get my camera plugged in tonight. Make sure it's got a full charge on it. Okay, so Landon got a last minute question in there. It says, why are the modern guns and holsters so ugly? Just so much polymer. Technology has changed.
People's tastes have changed.
But I tell you what,
Not
there's some
all
of those
people.
Kydex holsters that look really nice.
Yeah.
And really, if I was going to carry a modern semi-auto, I'd probably go with a Kydex over a leather. Just because.
I'll give you one thing though. If you're carrying inside the waistband like this, these collapse and they are a pain because you got to take that thing out every time.
Yeah.
Whereas a good soft leather holster shouldn't collapse.
Oh, that doesn't protect the triggers good, but you don't have to worry about that with that so much.
Yeah, but I don't know. If I could exclusively carry Duke holsters, I would, just because I like the leather.
Mom says to save money.
To save money. That is actually a very valid point
Yeah.
about the modern guns. It
Yeah,
is.
because-
It's saving weight, saving money.
And a higher dollar 1911, it's all steel. I mean, they make some pretty good knockoffs that are decent for the same price you get a polymer. But you want the good quality ones, you're paying $1,200, $1,500, $2,000.
And
You
You
get
might
a
as
good
well just
quality
go buy a
polymer for
original
about.
one.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
firearm development now is driven by military.
Right.
And whereas you could carry a 3-pound 3-pound 1911, if you carry
There's guns in the
You could-
West.
you could carry one more
Oh, did he
pound of
finally show
ammo.
up?
You guys are still going. You guys are hardcore.
You better believe it.
Well,
We have to
was
do this to
wondering
pay
if
the
you were
bills.
here.
We have to do this to pay the bills.
We
We
didn't-
don't have a mat. Okay, so we got to work hard.
We was wondering if you was in the chat, Dustin. We didn't see you pop in there earlier. But I'm going to settle the Glock versus 1911 question right now. Which one's better, 1911?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if I throw a 1911 and a Glock on the floor, guess which one the dogs are going to destroy? They ain't going to be the 1911.
Now you got Dustin here. He's a Glock guy.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying Glock's a bad gun. I would buy a Glock if I could afford one. But yeah, 1911 is going to beat him any day of the week.
I've handled them both quite a bit, and it goes back to which gun can you shoot better. Having older people in my family from like the World War II and Vietnam era, I grew up more with 1911s,
Yep.
and so that fits my hand. That I feel more comfortable with that gun.
The one downside of the 1911 is got a little fewer rounds, but you know what? If you're shooting good, you don't need all 15.
And I can say I've never shot a Glock. So.
I shot a Glock in 9mm and I shot a Glock in 45. And I tell you what, a Glock in 45, you might as well go 1911 because
Pretty snappy.
they're the Glock's a little too light for
No,
the
At the same time, people that are, and I have a hard time with this too, but people that are brought up and raised on these polymer guns, and that's all they've shot, they shouldn't go to a 1911 if they don't feel comfortable with it. You know, you can try it out, but shoot what you can shoot. At the end of the day, it's your life.
Yeah, I like the 1911, but problem is I've shot so many thousands of rounds through a Glock. I actually shoot it better.
Dust says he watched a little bit, watched a movie with his daughter, fulfilled customer orders, and we were still going.
You want a link?
We got 10 in the live chat.
Yeah, we're about to shut her down.
Yeah, we're getting close to shutting it down here. So want to thank you all for joining in. I want to thank for 11bangbang boys for coming up. And we're going to get out and do some videos. So I might get some shooting videos on the channel for once after I looked, and 2019 was the last time I uploaded a shooting video. So
We're still wondering if that shotgun's going to run any shells.
And we might get Duke to shoot the powerhouse here.
We're going to make Duke review guns he's uncomfortable with.
Although, they handed me
Man,
this
look at
polymer
this
one,
one.
and it said, well, see how you do that. And I was able to pop it out and catch the bolt with my left hand. So
Yeah,
We
that
were
was pretty
impressed.
impressive.
Anyway.
So thank you all for joining in. Stay safe out there. God bless you all. And stay tuned and keep your powder dry. And hopefully we'll do something here in the future. So keep tuned onto the channel. Have a good one.
Bye.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how to shut this off.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Night.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you gotta click it twice.
Nice.